thought we'd go over everyone's favorite topic, tax policy, a little bit. So again, as a small business owner, like I got to deal with all this stuff. You got to kind of learn. You got to learn a little bit about a lot, you know. So I thought I'd talk about this one big beautiful bill. You got Trump's big legislative whatever victory, whatever you want to call it. And again, does this help anybody? Is this really helpful to you guys? Is this how does this affect people that are in 100,000 a year and below? And then how does it affect people that are 100,000 a year and over? What does it do for businesses and things like that? What did I do as a business owner to take advantage of the one big beautiful bill? So I thought I'd give you guys, again, some real practical information. We could talk about, you know, how much money my business makes and how that affects me on the tax side, how my profits are different from my revenues, and what I use of this one big beautiful bill to advantage my business and hire more people. You know, it's like, I think it's real practical. You know, again, if you're one of these people, you know, whatever, you work with tips, you work with, work on tips, you do a lot of overtime, right? Does the one big beautiful bill help you, right? Like, what are we going to do with this tax benefit that is supposedly coming up here in April? You know, Trump's claiming that everyone's get the biggest returns ever. You know, everyone's going to get money back. You know, and what he doesn't tell you is that getting money back on your taxes is actually a fail. Which, I mean, is a whole different discussion. We don't really have to go into that. But most people overpay into the government all year long, and then they get a refund and think that it's like some big net benefit to them. And really, all you're doing is paying interest in. You're paying excessive amounts of money into the government, and then they're basically collecting interest off of your taxes, right? They're screwing you on the tax side to begin with, but then they're collecting interest after screwing you. So, man, double benefit for them. So, anyway, again, who am I? Why are you listening to me? Why are you here? So my name is Eric Wilkin. I own the Resplendent Crow here in St. Louis, Missouri. We are a small furniture boutique company. We do about 500 pieces a year. We got, I think I just hired another person, so we got 9 employees at this point. And we do a low 7 figures in revenue, and it's a great little business. Me and my wife got this thing going, and we've been at it for about 10 years now. And it's a great business. It's a great way to make money. One of my goals as a business owner is to pass this down to one of our kids at some point. I'm hoping that one day some kid of ours will want to run this business, and then they can, you know, teach their kids how to do this kind of stuff, you know, because when you own a small business, the job of a small business, like I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here, but the job of a small business isn't necessarily to make money, right? The job of a small business, according to me, is to teach other people how to do stuff, right? To give people skills that they can then take out in the world and make money with, right? Because truth is if I do a good job with my employees, if I teach my employees how to do something and I help them grow their skills and I help them to learn new things and add more value within my business, my job is to pay them more money, right? If they help contribute to my bottom line, my job is to grow them. And then over the years, we grow our business together. And there are a lot of business owners like me that actually believe this kind of stuff, right? You guys heard me yesterday talking about helping the poor, you know, helping people that are generationally impoverished, helping people that can't get off welfare, whose moms, you know, they've never had a dad, these kind of people. Like, our job as business owners is to actually help these people. And I talk about it as someone who has tried to do this and has done this and how difficult it is, right? So that's who I am. That's what I do. And if you like the content about furniture, you like to know about how to work with metal, you like to know how to paint, you like to talk about current events, you like to talk about politics, all this kind of things, we do all that stuff here on this channel. And that's what we do here. So like, subscribe, and support the channel. You know, hit the like button and add comments, right? Comments really help to kick the algorithm around. We got a lot of people that come in here every day. You know, we get, I want to say we get an average of probably about 40 concurrent viewers every stream. Sometimes we get up to as many as 70, and people just like to converse back and forth. It's a lot of fun, you know, so that's what we're going to talk about. Or that's who I am. That's what we're going to talk about. All right, so the one big beautiful bill, what is it? Why? Is anybody actually benefiting from this one big beautiful bill? Or is it just another thing that, you know, wealthy people get to take advantage of, and it's for the rich and the poor get screwed, blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. The one big beautiful bill has a lot of tangible benefits for a lot of different people, but the benefits are so small, they've already been eaten up by inflation, right? And so it's kind of important that people understand that the benefits you're going to see on the tax side when you get your tax refund, if you get one, have already been eaten away. You've already, your wages aren't actually keeping up with inflation. So when you get a benefit from the federal government by way of getting, you know, a tax refund, the money's already gone, you know, so it may feel nice to get that money in your pocket, but again, inflation has outpaced pretty much everyone's wage gains, you know. So as a small business owner, I tell you guys that you need to start working for yourself as fast as you possibly can, because it's the only thing that is going to get you to be able to keep up with inflation at a minimum by selling a product that can then go up in price with a minimum, which then, if you're doing your job correctly, means that your salary and your employee's salary can hopefully keep up with the cost of inflation, rather than relying on an employer to take pity on you and give you a wage, even though you're not necessarily doing anything more to earn more money. So anyway, I think it's a really important thing for people to understand, that it's the only way you guys are going to beat inflation is essentially to own a business at this point, or maybe inherit a shit ton of money. So okay, let's look at some of the benefits real quick, and I want to go over this with you guys and just kind of again explain to you that what these key benefits are, and can you take advantage of any of them. Again, I'm not a tax guy. This isn't a financial channel. I'm not trying to, like I said, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to stir a conversation about what supposedly are the tangible benefits of this one big, beautiful bill. Because truth is, I rag on Trump all the time. And as a business owner, this is the one thing that Trump has done for me as a business owner that I find helpful and is also helpful to my employees. And I'll be happy to explain that to you guys, and we can bat it all back and forth. So who do we got in this one? All right, GK Reb's back in here. Thank you. Thanks for coming back in, dude. I saw your comment the other day on one of my shorts, so I appreciate it. Okay, see you. Just see, this man is 100% correct about it. Yeah, I'm not correct about everything, but I just have an opinion. That's what we talk about on this channel. We have an opinion. Guy never graduated high school, was able to figure out how to get really good at something and turn that into a business that's created a nice middle class life. That's all we talk about here. That's where my experience comes from. Again, when people want to talk about tariffs, I have 2 manufacturing businesses in India, right? So I actually understand how tariffs really work. I actually understand how importing and exporting really works. I don't have a PhD in economics, from the Wharton School of Business, trying to tell you guys how economics works. Like, I actually have to do a lot of this stuff. And again, I'm an idiot. I'm not. I said I couldn't even do high school, but somehow I was able to figure this out. So this is where all my knowledge comes from. Dr. Crudo says facts. All right, Dr. Crudo, good to see you. Okay, let's dig back into this thing. So again, if you guys know of a benefit from this one big beautiful bill, if you think that your tax returns are going to be good for you, you're excited to get that money, tell me what you're going to do with it. Why is this bill good for you? So first thing, all right, so permanent extension of the 2017 tax cuts. Now, as a business owner, those 2017 Trump tax cuts were fantastic, right? And the reason they're so amazing for small business owners is because they allow for bonus depreciation, right? Bonus depreciation is probably, in my opinion, the single greatest driver to small businesses' efficiency that you could ever possibly ask for. Because what that means is that when I buy a piece of equipment, right, I buy something like, again, I bought a router, and give me just a minute, guys, I'll tell you exactly what I paid for my router and how my router benefits my employees, my business, and my taxes by having that piece of equipment. And anyone that has a business can get this same deduction, right? So the bonus depreciation is the most amazing thing when it comes to tax side policy for small businesses, because it allows us to buy equipment using a loan, right? So I can pay whatever. I could pay, $25,000 for a router, not put $1 down, right? I can go get a loan for it, pay that loan back at say $500 a month, right, over 3 or 4 years, and then I can write off the entire cost of that router on the day that I buy it, right? So I get a $24,000, $25,000 write-off on my taxes immediately, which means I save a shit ton of money on taxes immediately, right? I can put that tool to work immediately to increase efficiency, to increase how my employees work, right? To lower my prices if I'm looking to lower my prices, to again, put out more product, to do all kinds of different things, and I get to do it day one, which is super helpful. And that's what everybody needs for any policy that the government is gonna give you guys. Like, it needs to help you on day one. If they tell you like, oh, it's gonna be good in the long run, be suspect, right? If they tell you like, oh God, it'll take effect next year, like, be suspect, So anyway, point is that is the one most amazing. The other thing it did is it kept tax cuts low, right? So instead of paying whatever 25% on my taxes, now I'm paying whatever 22% on my passive income on taxes, right? This is a good thing, but again, I'm always telling you guys, like, this is that waffling that everyone does, right? It's like, yeah, you go a little bit this way if the Democrat gets in, you go a little bit this way if the Republican goes in, and this is what they do. There's no big swings that would actually really help people in a meaningful way, and unfortunately, this is just how politics works, right? So, okay, so the permanent extension of the tax cuts is a fantastic thing, and that's gonna be great for anyone that wants to start a small business. New tax deductions for working class Americans, okay? Let's talk about these. These are big. This is some of the stuff that Trump put in that I can't wrap my head around how people like fell for this as being a good thing. It is good if you make a shit ton of money, but the truth is that most people that operate on things like tax on tips, well, I can't say overtime, but tax on tips, like they don't make that much money to begin with. But let's get in. Okay, first one. On the first one is no tax on tips. Okay, so no tax on tips sounds great, right? If you're one of these people that works, as a waitress, right? We all know that one. Even though you guys notice, like fucking everyone wants tips, right? Everywhere you go, it's, do you want to give a tip? 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 And the worst thing about the people that get tips now, you can always tell the people that work for tips and the people that expect a tip. The people that work for tips, they like provide you with a really good service and they're really nice. They do a great job to make sure you're super happy. The people that just expect a tip, they're just like, this asks you a question. Oh, there's a question. If I hear there's a question one more time, like I'm going to take their little thing, I'm going to throw it in the parking lot. I'm so tired of these weak ass people. Oh, there's a question. There's a question. It's like, no, bitch, you want a tip. Ask me for a tip. Tell me you want a tip. Like, yeah, it's there. Again, this is what we do in this. The thing about a server and someone that actually works for tips, they understand that there's a transaction, right? Their job is to look hot, right? So they got the lipstick on the heels, if you're a woman, they're looking attractive because they want you to give them a tip. They want to provide really good service and they want to look really nice. Now you got these fucking kids. They're in there. They got, nose rings, blue hair, and they're taking your order, over the intercom for a cup of coffee. They're like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to get a tip for this. Like, they don't understand, like, they're providing a shitty service and their product really isn't that great, but they want to be tipped more. Anyway, point is that most people that are working for tips, right, aren't going to see a tangible benefit from no tax on tips because they already get a standard deduction, guys. They're already not paying, anything in taxes, because the truth is that you got to make a certain amount of money in America to really pay anything in a significant amount of income taxes, which is what the federal government wants, right? So no tax on tip is kind of a joke. Give me just 1 second, guys, and I'll read your comments as we're going through these things. No tax on overtime pay. Okay, now this, for me as an aerospace aviation employee, this would have been a amazing thing for me, right? Because again, I told you guys, like, I've never not worked 60 hours in my entire life, right? When people say, oh yeah, I work a lot of overtime, like I've done it for decades, okay? In aerospace, we always worked at least 55 hours. A lot of times we worked 70 to 80 hours a week. That's just how it was. That's how I was able to afford my middle-class living, was because, again, I had tons of paychecks where I had more overtime hours than I had regular straight pay hours. So no tax on overtime would have been awesome, but most people aren't making that much money that are working overtime, right? Because we as employers, we understand that we'll take advantage of overtime when there's holidays, right? Like, we love to make people work more overtime on holidays because you don't have to pay that overtime when you have a holiday in the week, right? And again, there's a lot of holidays, in case you guys haven't noticed. So there's a lot of opportunities to get overtime out of your employees without having to pay overtime pay. And again, you guys say, oh, that's fucked up, but that's just how it works. That's how you make money as a business owner, is by taking advantage of every possible angle that you can, So I don't know if this overtime thing is going to help a ton of people, but if you're in my industry, which was aerospace, this is going to be awesome for you. So again, guys like us that were making whatever $40,000, $50,000 a year just in overtime, right? We are going to benefit huge from this. So if you guys are one of these people, you're in the woodworking space, you're making furniture, consider going into a place like aerospace, where most of the time you are going to work overtime, and this benefit would be huge to you from the income tax side, because again, it's not going to be taxable, right? So I think that's a fantastic benefit for people, but how much do people really work? And again, if in America, most people today have 2 or 3 jobs, which you're hearing a lot more people have those kind of jobs, guess what? You're not going to get any overtime. And this is one of the things that's very frustrating as an employer, the way that the tax system works and the way our labor laws work, right? Like, I should be able to give my people more hours, pay my people more money, and not have to deal with all this overtime bullshit. Like, it would just be really nice if I could just give my employees more salary, or maybe instead of the overtime, I can give my guys bonuses for doing more work. So there's good things to overtime pay. There's also bad things to overtime pay. If you're one of these guys that, like I was in aerospace, that got lots of overtime, it's awesome, but as an employer, it can be very difficult to give your employees more hours. I actually have an incentive to hire more people than pay my existing people overtime pay, right? It gets very expensive paying people overtime. And again, people will say, oh, this is bullshit, you want to take advantage of people. Again, I'm just giving you guys both sides of the point of view, right? So, okay, last couple things here on this particular part of the one big beautiful bill. Auto loan interest rate deduction, okay? This is disgusting, actually. So what they're trying to do here is they're basically saying that we're going to give you a deduction on your interest on your auto loan if you buy a new vehicle, okay? Here's the thing about new vehicles, guys. They're all overpriced. New vehicles are 30 to 40% more expensive than they should be currently, right? So what the government is trying to do is the government is trying to help the auto industry for basically screwing over all of you people during COVID and elevating their prices so much that now they're having trouble walking those prices back. So they're throwing a bone to the automotive industry and saying, well, we'll let the consumer write off a little bit of your overpriced vehicle, which the auto industry also makes money on your guys' loan. So when you go from a 36-month loan to a 84-month loan, guess what? They're winning twice. So they're already making money on the financing. Most of the auto industry makes more money on the financing than they do on the vehicles now. So kind of disgusting, but I don't know. It's of no benefit to anybody because truth is that the automotive industry is crashing right now. They're not making a ton of money. You're going to see substantial losses coming in from the auto industry this year and probably for the next 2 or 3 years. And it's going to get really bad. And in my opinion, the automotive industry is on a path to needing some kind of a bailout, right? That's what I think. And I could be wrong, but their business model no longer works. Right now, you've got companies like General Motors and Stellantis that are trying to get away from the dealership model, right? So right now, they're trying to move away from this idea of selling a car to a dealership, right? The dealer buys it on credit, right, and has to hold on to that car until they sell it. And their incentive is to move that car as quickly as possible so they don't have to pay interest on those loans. Well, a lot of these cars have been on the lots for over a year, right? So these dealerships are losing a shit ton of money. Well, Tesla came in. If you guys know anything about Teslas, I own a Tesla. The way you buy cars from Tesla is you just buy the car from Tesla. There's no dealer network, which is amazing, right? There's no advertising. Tesla doesn't advertise, in case you guys didn't notice this. Their business model is so good and their product demand is so high, they don't need to do a ton of advertising. So Tesla makes money hand over fist because they are not in this dealer network. They got their own service. They got their own updates. They have their own sales, right? So again, you're seeing a lot of changes there, but this auto loan interest deduction, I don't think really helps anybody. It's just trying to entice a few people to buy these new bullshit cars that we have today that fucking fall apart. They cost $5,000 for a headlight. They cost $10,000 for a new LCD control module. The vehicles are a joke because the engineering side. And how many times have I talked to you guys about engineered obsolescence and the over-engineering of everything in America? Has gotten so bad that no one can afford the vehicles. Even if you can't afford to repair them. The reason your guys' auto insurance goes up is because, again, we pander to this automotive industry. And then, again, when you wreck a car, well, all the panels are whatever, composite. The panels are stainless steel, right? They can't be fixed, So, again, you got to buy an entirely new panel from the dealer, and then the cost of everything goes up, right? Nothing is meant to be repaired anymore. Nothing is meant to be actually fixed. It's prohibitively expensive to fix things now, thus your insurance goes up. So anyway, I think this is a bullshit thing. You guys are all going to pay for it, and it's no good. Okay, increased standard deduction. This increased standard deduction is great, if you're a low-income worker, but this hurts you on no tax on tips, right? This hurts you on no tax on overtimes. It just increases the standard deduction, which means you don't have to pay as much money as your income goes up, and so it's not super helpful if you're a low-wage earner. So yeah, this is the first thing. It's supposed to help what they call working class workers. There's not a lot in here, guys. I'm sorry to say. There's a couple of tangible benefits. If you're like me, back in the day, you're working 70 hours a week in overtime pay. 70 hours a week, 30 in overtime every week. Big benefit for sure, but I don't know. I don't think it's super helpful. Okay, let's dig into comments real quick, and then we're going to continue on. We're going to talk about the benefits for the families. We're going to talk about people that have kids. You guys know we have a massive epidemic of people not having kids, right? Like everyone loves to screw, but no one loves to make kids anymore because no one can afford it, right? And who wants to have a kid when they're living in an apartment? So are there any benefits in here to help you guys get into homes, right? And towards the end of this discussion this morning, we're going to talk about what would actually help America on a tax side, on a housing side, all of these kind of things to actually grow the economy in a meaningful way for more people. And I think most of at this point kind of know that, like I said, most of the stuff, it's all a scam. Like it's just, again, it's moving a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, but at the end of the day, you guys are all paying the same thing into the federal government no matter what. So it's really sad. Okay, All right, let's go ahead. Here we got, this is Brian Hill, 14. Brian Hill, I don't know if you've been in here before, man. I appreciate being here. Brian Hill, 1406. If you make less than $40,000 a year, you're going to pay more taxes. Period. Yeah, you're going to pay more taxes for all the shit you buy because inflation is driving up the cost of everything. Your wages, like inflation still is outpacing wage growth, right? Which is kind of crazy because Trump's always saying, oh, we got inflation down, we controlled inflation. It's like, okay, well, how come my salary is not going up? How come every time I go out and buy a steak, right, it feels like I'm buying a car? Like, why is the cost of everything so goddamn expensive if I'm going to make more money, right? If my salaries are getting better, if the inflation's coming down, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't work today. All right, let's see, Brian Hill, 1406. I would go out of my way to eat at a restaurant that refuses to accept tips and actually paid their service living wage. Yeah, this is a real problem, guys. The businesses, like there's so many bad businesses, guys, and there's so many bad business models, and you have a lot of employers that literally want to take advantage of their employees. And there is, I mean, as an employer, guys, I'm here to tell you guys, there is literally a agreement between the employer and the employee, right? My job is to get you in for the cheapest amount of money I possibly can with the most skills possible. Your job is to get into my business and sell yourself at the highest wage you possibly can because you have the most amount of skills, right? There's this inverse relationship here, not inverse, there's this relationship on this agreement. And the truth is, guys, that a lot of business owners try and take advantage of people. Like, they're just really, and all you need to know about a business, guys, is that the bigger that business gets, the more ability they have to take advantage of their employees, okay? As small business owners, I have less of an incentive to take advantage of my employees because guess what? I don't have as much time, I don't have as much resources, I don't have as much of everything in order to bring in new people, to hire new people, to train new people, to see if people are gonna work within my culture, to see if people really have the skills they say they have. Because the truth is, guys, most people say they have skills and they don't. They're actually bullshitting. That's something a lot of people don't talk about when you hire people. A lot of people bullshit about what they can provide for your company. So again, as you get bigger, right, you can interchange employees constantly. You like literally have a mechanism to just bring people in, kick people out, bring people in, kick people out. And as an employer, I've told you guys many times, the most jobs that I see on applications today, especially from the lower class of workers, is they've all worked at Amazon and they've all done DoorDash or Uber. It's the most common job in America today. And a lot of people today, they're working 2 or 3 jobs. So when Trump says, you know, oh, no tax on overtime, yeah, if you got a good manufacturing job like I did and you're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, that's amazing. But the truth is most people are working 2 or 3 jobs. And then what happens when you work 2 or 3 jobs? Oh yeah, there's no fucking overtime, okay? So you're not making time and a half. You're not making double time, triple time on holidays. You're not making any of that shit because, again, you got multiple jobs. So the benefits of having a good single job that lets you work as many hours as you want are less common today than they were in my day, you know, in the early 2000s. And it's a damn shame. I feel bad for people. So, okay, more comments. Again, I appreciate everyone being in here. If you're in the discussion, hit the like button, add discussion. We're talking one big beautiful bill. We're talking taxes. We're talking about the actual effects of buying shit as a business owner and how that helps me as a business owner to create jobs, to increase efficiency, to grow my revenue, and then hire more people. All right, Brian, okay. And yeah, so Brian, yeah, your business model is broken, right? The idea that the other thing, like, dude, like there's a problem with restaurants, right? We as Americans are conditioned to tip waiters, especially really good, high-end, expensive waiters. We are just conditioned to tip these people. And if you go into other countries, like go over to Spain, go over to Europe, okay? Tipping is not a thing over there. It's not in their culture. For whatever reason, it is here. And one of the reasons we tip for service is because we like really good service. But the other thing is restaurateurs know that they don't have to pay their people the kind of money that they would normally have to pay them, which helps them to make more money, right? So everyone says, oh my God, restaurants are the hardest business to make money at. Yes, it is, but it's also one of the most lucrative, right? And one of the reasons for that is because you can take the money that you would end up paying your servers, you can put that in a nicer ambiance, you can put that into advertising, you can put that into, you know, creating a great experience for your customer. And again, if you do all those things, your server will be rewarded for sure, but only if sales are good. If sales suck, if the business doesn't end up working, and as the business goes down, it loses that attractiveness of being the new great thing, your wait staff suffers, right? Everyone suffers. But the owner still can kind of reap some benefits, and then he can just open up another restaurant and do it again. A lot of these people that have restaurants, they're serial restaurateurs, right? They open up a restaurant for a year or two, make some cash, move on to another one. They open up another restaurant, and they just go from restaurant to restaurant to restaurant, and it's an actual business model, you know. So, yeah, it would be nice if people would actually pay their employees what they're supposed to pay them, so they can earn a decent living and not have to come into work terrified. Like here's something I've never told you guys before. So here's how I hire people. Whenever I hire somebody, I'm not trying to get them in for the cheapest wage possible, right? So obviously I don't want to overpay for somebody. I don't want to give somebody something and then be dissatisfied with it. But what I always say to people when we're hiring is I always say, you know, hey, what do you need to feel good about coming into work every day, right? What do you need to come in and do your job and not be focused on your expenses at home, right? So do you need 20 bucks an hour? Do you need 30 bucks an hour? Do you need 40 bucks an hour? What is it that you're going to need to feel good about working here? Right? And so this is the thing that I do with almost everybody that I hire, because again, I don't want people to come into work thinking like, oh my God, my car's, you know, broken and I can't get it fixed because I don't make enough money. Or like, oh my God, I need to wait to get a raise. I got to wait to prove myself. I hire people at the rate that they want within reason, right? So that they'll feel good about coming into work every day. Now, the other side of that, if an employee, you know, wants whatever, 25, 30 bucks an hour, they come in and they're not providing value fairly quickly, I fire them right away, okay? This is the other side of that thing, because again, I want people to feel good, but if you bullshit me and you tell me that you can build furniture and then I come in and you know what the fuck a dado joint is and I'm paying you 30 bucks an hour, guess what? I'm gonna shit can you within 2 or 3 days, like you're gone, okay? Now, if you can provide that service, everyone wins, we're happy, and that's how it should be, okay? So anyway, there's a little back-end information for you guys. All right, most hideous lamp I've ever seen. Man, everyone loves this lamp. I don't know what you're talking about. Row Russ 9530. I think people love Christmas Story. It's a, you know, it's a classic. All right, and it's a major award for crying out loud. Okay, see Jess of the WW something 20. Okay, see new means you lose money when you drive it off the lot is ridiculous. Yeah, well you're paying for that dealer infrastructure, right? Dealers got to make money. One of the ways they make money is by overpricing that vehicle. The minute you buy it, they're lapping up that 20%. The minute you take it off the lot, that's going to the dealer, right? Again, so technically speaking, you guys are paying 20% over and above what you should be paying for vehicles right off the bat. But then you factor in things like COVID, when the federal government is just printing money and splashing it on everyone. The banks have interest rates down to damn near zero, so anyone can buy money for cheap. The cost of everything goes through the roof because everybody can afford everything. And that is not how an economy works. Like, I'm sorry, it's just not. You can't have an economy where everyone can buy everything. Like, it just, that's economics 101. It doesn't work in that case. So, all right, who we got? Let's see, this is the Mikado 16. I got 4 kids, home prices are stupid, grocery prices are stupid, hard to live. Yeah, dude, man, I feel real sorry for you. What I would want to know, Mikado, is, let me say, make sure I'm saying that right. Yeah, Mikado 16, is what do? You know, you got 4 kids, you got a wife, you got, you know, all these kind of bills. Like, I'm just kind of curious what people do. I was only able to afford my way of life growing up because I worked 60, 70 hours for almost 20 years. Like, the only time in my life I ever got to get away from working so many hours was when I went to the company Gulfstream in Savannah, Georgia. They didn't like to do overtime, you know, so it's very rare to work lots of overtime. I was on the service side where we do a lot of refurbs on furniture. We would rebuild things. We'd make new, like, custom stuff. But if you were on the production side of Gulfstream, where they were putting out furniture for the new 650s and the 280s, you were working 60, 70 hours a week, you know, because there's a lot more margin on the new jets, less margin on the refurb one-off type stuff. So the business models were a little bit different, but that was the only way that I was able to afford to live the way that I would want to live. But in truth, like, I don't know about you, Mikado, it's like I didn't want to just hang out. I would have known what to do with all, if I could afford to live on 40 hours a week, I don't know what I would have done. Like, again, there's only so much shit you can do around the house. There's only so much Netflix you can watch. There's only so much time you can spend with your wife or your kids. Like, I don't know what I would have done with all the extra time, if I'm being completely honest. And honestly, I wouldn't have got as good at what I did had I not worked all those hours, you know. So I'm a guy that likes to work. So Mikado, let me know what you got going on there. All right, let's see, Jess of the Wiz, WW20. I'm waiting on grandchildren. It's going to be a while. They just can't afford to break. They just can't afford to break my heart. Yeah, and Jess, man, I'm real sorry. Like, this is, like I said, I'm getting older in life. Like, I'm 46 now. Maybe I'm 47, 46. I think I'm 46. And yeah, I understand that. Like, like when we started this business, I wasn't really thinking about, kids, and I just wanted to make money, right? I wanted to prove everyone in my younger days that I was worthy of something, right? That I did better than the people in my family. I did better than the people that I grew up with. I just wanted everyone to see that I made something of my life, even though I didn't go to high school and everyone called me a fucking loser forever, and I finally did it, right? And I finally feel like I don't care who sees my life. Like I made it. I am in my life where I want to be. Now I'm thinking about what you're thinking about, right? I'm thinking about my kids having kids. I'm thinking about my kids and what they're going to do. And I really want this business to stick around so that my kids could run it, right? Even though they want nothing to do with it, they hate the idea of being dirty. They love all the money. They love the paying for their expenses, right? But they don't want to do the thing that allows us to give them money, right? That allows us to pay for whatever it is that they need. They don't want to do that work. They don't see the value in working with your hands. They don't see the value in smelling paint, in breathing dust, in running plywood through a table saw. They don't see any value there. They don't understand that as business owners, we have to do a million things, and there's a million opportunities to do all kinds of stuff in this company. They just want to work in academia. They want to work, with their heads, and they think that they're going to get rich doing these kind of things, and that's fine. But it saddens me as I get older in life that I don't think my kids are ever going to want to do this thing that I do. And so that's one of the reasons I'm such an advocate for people working with their hands. I want to change our economy. I want to go from this knowledge, academic delusion that we've been living in and bring back hard work, bring back manufacturing, bring all that stuff back to America, get the third world out of here, put the American back to work. And then people that can't afford things today, right? They can't afford to own a home. They can't afford to have kids. They're putting off life, right? Instead of having kids when you're in your early 20s, people are putting off kids to their 30s, right? To their 40s. And this is death for a country, guys. And again, as business owners, we have a lot of people that are like, well, you know what? I don't want to pay Americans a living wage. I don't want to pay them the kind of money they need to make to be able to afford a home, to have a family, because I want to make money today. So I'm going to outsource all that work to the third world, and I'm going to make that product over there and then sell it back to rich people, right? Or I'm going to bring the third world in here because whatever Jess of the WW2, your kids don't want to work for the salaries that I want to pay, so I'm going to bring in people here that will work for the salaries, and I'm going to do it with illegals, right? Or I'm going to do it with the third world in some way, and it's really sad. Like it's horrible. And again, as an American who didn't go through the academic side of America, right? I believe that when you bring people back to working with their hands, when you bring people back into the manufacturing space, when you bring people back into building homes, it creates a psychology in your country of builders, right? Of people that can repair things, of people that are more worried and concerned about the quality of the things that they buy than the price, right? We'll pay a ton of money for something if it's of high quality, but a lot of people today don't have any money, so they have to buy shit from the third world, and then when it comes back here into America, it can't be repaired. And even if you wanted to repair, you wouldn't bother wasting your time because it's easier just to order it again from the third world, and thus you don't have a maker. You're not fostering that idea of thinking for yourself, repairing things, replacing things, so on and so forth. So anyway, no one wants to hear that this morning. But all right, just to know you too. Yeah, sorry, man. I really hope that we can fix some of these things, and unfortunately, the big beautiful bill isn't gonna get us going in that direction. But we'll talk about that towards the end of this discussion. All right, Mikado 16. I'm a machinist at my company. Turned off overtime 2 years ago. Yeah, dude. Sorry about that, Mikado. We got a couple machinists that watch this channel. I think that's freaking awesome. We got a couple business owners. We got a couple machinists. This is a channel for everyone, but again, I'm a guy who's always worked with my hands. I mean, you could call me a junior machinist, right? I did work in a sheet metal department in our aerospace company for years in Wichita, Kansas. So I actually know what bend radiuses are, and I can actually bend metal, but I can't really run a lathe very well. So, but machinists make decent money. And again, businesses are doing everything they can to cut costs, and one of the things that they do is turn off the overtime, right? The mechanism that allows working class people to really get ahead, they turn it off, and they'll hire in more people because there isn't an incentive to let people work more money. Mikado could, work, so Mikado, and again, people hate when I say this, but Mikado could, say Mikado's making $30 an hour as a machinist, right? He gets to hour 40, right? The minute he goes to hour 41, he's making $45 an hour, okay? Now, as an employer, that elevates my cost significantly, and if I didn't plan on that when I sold the customer whatever it was that I sold them, I'm immediately losing money. Good for Mikado, bad for the employer, okay? There needs to be a mechanism where we can say to Mikado, hey, dude, I'm losing money here on this deal. You want to help me out here, and can you take $40 an hour, right, instead of the 45? Can you take $35 an hour? Help me out with this thing. I'll give you some extra money. Mikado wins, I win. But no, there is a government mechanism in place that says, nope, you have to hire this guy. So as a business owner, my incentive is to say, look, dude, I can't give you the 40 hours. I'm going to go hire, Mikado number 2 over here, and I'm going to train him up so that I don't have to be in this situation again. And then Mikado gets no more overtime. And people hate it when you tell them these kind of things, but this is literally how business works. There has to be a better mechanism for the employer and the employee to help each other. And when the government gets involved, when you allow the third world in here, or you allow us to manufacture things in the third world, the business owner has every incentive to not give Mikado overtime, to not allow him to work a little bit of extra money. And then Mikado's only choice, if the employer uses the third world to keep him from working more, is to go find a second job. And guess what? Now there's no fucking overtime. Maybe he's got to put on a uniform for 2 different places, right? He's got to drive not only to my business, now he's going to drive to a second job, right? You think it's complicated working 1 job 60 hours a week? Try doing 2 jobs, right? And then you factor in a family, a wife, kids, all the bullshit that goes with that. Like, it's not good. And I hope people kind of understand this stuff from an employer standpoint. If we had a better class of employers, again, when I hire people, I say, what do you need? What kind of money do you need to feel good about working here, right? And that's how it's supposed to be. When I need overtime work, right, I should be able to go to my employee and say, look, dude, I need to stay after here for 2 or 3 hours. Again, we'll pay you some overtime, and man, I can't pay, time and a half, but thanks, labor unions. Like, you think that a union is good, and it is in many ways, but doing something like that, it doesn't help this one guy out in his particular situation. The employer's not helped out, so the employer essentially just has to eat it. And then again, as an employer, my incentive is to say, hey, I'm not going to do this again. I'm going to make sure that I don't get fucked this way anymore, and I'm going to go hire somebody else. I'm going to outsource to the third world, right? I'm going to bring in illegal labor, all these kind of things, instead of giving Mikado some extra money, some extra salary, some extra whatever to help me out, to get me out of a jam, right? So I hope this makes sense, people. The situation goes both ways. It's not just the employer trying to screw the employee, so. All right, Luke 5784, these days it seems like the less skilled workers are in charge. Yeah, well, and this is the economy. So this is Luke 5784. And guys, let me see where I'm at in the stream. Okay, good. We don't have a ton of comments in here, so I can actually spend some time talking to you guys about this stuff. It seems like the less skilled are in charge, okay? Let's get a cup of coffee here. So for a long time, I've been talking about how the incentive in America has been to send everyone to college, right? Which is fine. We need smart people. I'm one of these people, like, I'm not against college for what college is. What I'm against is when, instead of teaching people real skills, we send people to college because we think it's going to make them smart. There's a lot of people today that they're not going to get any smarter, guys. Not from a scholastic standpoint. They can get better at building houses. They can get better at roofing. They can get better at doing a few things, but they're not going to go get a 4-year degree and suddenly become smarter, more valuable to the world or to America. So when we started sending all the work to China and Vietnam and Indonesia and all these places in the 90s, right, we let China into the World Trade Organization in 2001. Well, that supercharged everything, right? So then companies are just sending as many jobs as they can to the third world. They then incentivized all you guys to go to college, right? Again, only losers work with their hands. Only losers build houses. Only losers stripe roads. Only losers work with their hands, right? So you ended up in a situation where everybody was incentivized to go to college. I mean, everyone here, I think, can attest to this, right? Hit the like button if you know what I'm talking about. How many of you were called losers because you liked building houses, right? You liked making furniture, right? You liked welding, right? How many of you guys were called losers because you liked doing this thing that wasn't at a college, right? You didn't have a 4-year degree. So you send everyone to college for whatever, 15, 20 years. Well, you give the same degree out to 5 million people. You give the same psychology degree out to 4 million people. What do you think is going to happen to the value of that degree? You think that we're just going to need more sick people for the psychologist to work on? You think we're going to need more business degrees? Like, do you think people are actually looking for that kind of stuff over 10, 15 years? No, every degree you give out is worth less to society because, again, there's no practical use for these people. So when you say things like, it seems like the less skilled people are in charge, it's because they are. There's a reason you go from having employees that can manage themselves to having an employer who manages the employees, right? Like, I don't know, for all of my life, I've had people working above me who don't fucking know what it is that I do, telling me what I need to do, right? Telling me, okay, here's your hours. You need to make sure you get this thing under hours. Your hours this year were this. Well, this year you need to get your hours down to that, and it's pushing the bottom line, it's pushing people to do more work, but the truth is that the people that actually do the work want to be better. They want to put product out better. They want to do a better job. They want to be more efficient. They want to move on to do new things. There's a lot of things that people like me want to do, but we've been told forever that the knowledge class, the educated class, are the people that are going to drive everyone forward. And now we're realizing that these people don't actually provide a lot of value to society. The reason things are so expensive today is in a large part because we sent everyone to college. And again, when you have to justify your job by telling someone who actually does real work what to do, it drives the cost of everything up. So I hope this kind of makes sense to everyone. I probably didn't explain it as well as I should, but you guys are paying for a bunch of people that don't actually provide a product, right? And again, when you send everything to the third world, you can afford to pay people to not make a real thing. You can afford to pay tons of those people. But the minute it gets more expensive to produce everything in the third world, well, guess what happens? It gets more expensive to get it here in America. The cost of the people that don't actually provide services in America start to really wear on society. And that's where we're at today, guys. We don't have enough people to make shit here. Like, that's the reason the third world was brought in here. That's why you got 15 million illegal immigrants in America, is because no one wants to work with their hands. The reason we sent so much work to China, starting in 2001, have been doing it for the last 15 years. Now China is sending their work to Vietnam, just like we did, because it's cheaper for Chinese to get their shit made in Vietnam than it is to get it made in China, and then they send it back to America. So this thing is stair-stepping. We've got to get more people doing real work, making real tangible products in America. Otherwise, everything's going to spiral out of control as far as prices go. So I had a long-winded answer. Sorry, guys. But we don't have a ton of comments in here, which is great. I know people just love taxes. In case you guys don't know this, here's some information about YouTube. The reason you go on YouTube, and it seems like everyone is talking taxes, everyone's talking real estate, gold, how to get rich quick, buy my course. The reason everyone on YouTube is doing that is because it gives people hope, guys. It's like buying a gym membership, right? You buy that gym membership for 15 bucks a month, and then you don't actually use it very much. Maybe you're hardcore for the first month, but then everybody tapers off, and then you just pay the membership because it feels like you're doing something. Also, YouTube pays the highest RPM and CPM for finance-related content, okay? So that's why you guys see so much of that shit on YouTube. It's very profitable for people. But anyway, I don't do any of that. I just talk. I make my money in furniture. I don't have to make my money on YouTube. So, all right, let's see here. Luke, we read your comment, so great comment, dude. All right, great lamp. This is Lord Loveland. Yep, again, everyone loves a leg lamp. Major reward. All right, Greg Schneider, say, love the leg lamp. Used to have one. Yeah, it's cool, man. It's good. TK says, well, damn. Okay, Luke says, that's fair. Just free-minded labs. All right, cool name. So I just quit my job running an edge bander. Oh, fantastic. It was an old machine that I had to Jimmy to run correctly. Still mastered it, and they took me for granted. Now they've been begging me to come back. It's not worth it. Okay, so Free-Minded Labs, I hope you're still in here. I know I can run my mouth sometimes and people just bail. If you're still in here, I'm very curious. Let me know if you're still in the comments, dude. I want to talk to you specifically. Free-Minded Labs, say something in the comments. Are you here? Let me know. I'm going to kind of wait just a second. And then we're going to get into more comments, guys. I'm curious about this because, again, one of the pieces of equipment that I was going to buy for my business was a massive edge bander. And these things are like 20 grand. They're very expensive. And essentially, they just basically, we have a piece of plywood. You can see the edge of the piece of plywood, right? You got the veneer on top and you got a veneer on the bottom, but you see the edge. So you have this machine called an edge bander, which then puts a piece of veneer on that edge so that you don't see it. So it looks just like one solid piece of wood. It's called an edge bander, has glue on it. And anyway, these machines are wildly expensive, and I've never understood why they're so expensive, but one of the reasons you need edge banders now is because everything is made of plywood. I make a ton of furniture, I make it out of plywood. It's a very useful tool, and I want to know if this guy, what they paid this guy, how long he worked on this machine, and was it, what are his thoughts on working with this machine? But it doesn't look like he's still in here, which is, man, what a bummer. Okay, so this is one of the things that business owners can do and businesses can do to their employees. I'm very curious what this guy was getting paid. So here's the thing, guys. When I have an employee that wants to make more money, which happens all the time, by the way, people want to get paid. Everybody wants to make more money. Everyone wants to grow their income. And my job as a business owner, like I told you guys earlier in the stream, is to provide skills to people. So to teach people how to do some shit. It's to grow their skills and grow the opportunities for them. Because here's the thing. You got a lot of different kinds of people that you need to employ as an employer. Some people, they want to do the same thing every day. And you know what? That's awesome, right? You got other people, they don't want to do the same thing every day. That's awesome too. And then you got another class of people, right? That they are literally looking for trouble every day, meaning they want to solve problems all day long. And those people are amazing, right? I want to know what kind of employee this guy was, because as a business owner, if he were in my shop and he was running an edge bander, right? What I would do if he was going to quit, if he needed to make more money, is I would say, look, dude, you want to make some more money? Here, I need this thing done. I need you to go do this as well as your other job, and I'll pay you more money, right? That's what we do as business owners if we care about our employees. Because again, what I told you guys earlier in the stream is I don't want to go hire new people, right? Now, if this employee is a pain in the ass, if this employee is the guy that's fucking up my culture, if this employee comes in and he's constantly talking shit to other employees, he's stirring things up, he's talking crap about our product, the employee, I'll get rid of this guy like that. I don't care how good of an employee is, because culture is probably one of the most important things within your business. And when you get enough employees, what happens is that when you get a shitty employee coming in, your employees will push that person out, right? And inevitably, these people, they come out and they're super mad about the employer. Or, they didn't pay me what I was supposed to pay. Oh, this is bullshit. I didn't like that guy. Fuck that employer. He wasn't good to me. He treated me poorly. His business sucks. His product sucks. And you hear these employees a lot. Tons of. I've never heard a person talk about Amazon. It's like, oh, this place was amazing. I loved working at Amazon. They got rid of me. Amazon doesn't really get rid of people, right? Because they need so many people. You never hear people say good things about DoorDash, right? You never hear people come out, oh, God, DoorDash was amazing. I wish I could have done DoorDash forever. It doesn't work that way. As small business owners, we try and retain our employees. We try and keep people that have a good attitude, right? That are good for other people within our company. I really wanted to talk to this guy about that, because I want to know why he was let go. I want to know why he quit. I want to know what he was doing. What kind of money was he making? Did his employer give him opportunities? Because as a business owner, like, I've always got new things that I want to do. I always need help with everything. Like, there's never a lack of things to do in my furniture company. There's always things that need to be done. So that bums me out, man. Okay, well, maybe he'll come back. If that guy comes back, hopefully, we can talk to him again. Okay. All right, legendary lamp, sir. Yes, Mr. Two Times. We got a great lamp here. Everyone loves lamps. Say, I'm 43 years old, adult student, third year psychology. Jess, are you serious? Are you really telling me the truth, man? 43-year-old adult student, third year psychology. Again, why do we need more psychology degrees, man? Like, what are you doing going to school for psychology? And it's great if you like it, but I mean, are you working for somebody? Have you been in this field for a long time? Did you start out young in psychology and you're continuing your education? Are you going for a doctorate? Or, I mean, I struggle with the college side of things and people going into school, especially late in life. Are you retraining? What did you do before this? I'm very curious what your story is. So it sounds like you've got, I appreciate all the comments, Jess, but I want to know kind of what's going on. Okay, after my son left, I couldn't find a job with no experience. Okay, well, so Jess, what did you do? Yeah, no, you must have done something. Were you just a stay-at-home parent forever? I'm kind of curious. Feels like punishment for staying home to raise my kid. That's rough. Okay, well, Jess, were you married? Do you not have a husband anymore? Did your husband leave you? Did life just completely fall apart? I'm very curious what the backstory is here. And again, why psychology? Like, when I talk to people about growing their skills and learning something, what I always tell people as a guy who never went to college, and again, at 43 years old, this might not apply as much as if you were 20 years old, is that you need to go work, you need to go do something when you're youngish. You need to go do it. You need to do it for 40 hours a week, and then you need to do it as a side hustle, right? So in my case, it was furniture. When I was building furniture 40 to 70 hours a week, I was always trying to start small business. People always needed me to build drawer boxes for them, fix cabinets, make vanities, work on their house. One time I had to build a curved railing for a historical home there in El Dorado, Kansas. They were always asking me to do these things. And over my 20 years, I got really good at doing this thing. Wherever I would go, people would ask me, hey, can you build this? Can you build this? And I would try and start a business. And I kept failing and I kept failing until I finally met my wife. And she had the skills that I was lacking. And we grew this thing into what it is today. But it was the 20 years of working my ass off at my job and then after my job that led me to where I am today. I honestly believe it. So Jess, yeah, we need some more backstory, but I appreciate you appreciate being candid, man. Let us kind of know what's going on here. Feels like punishment for staying home with my race. Yeah, man, it shouldn't be that way. Okay, Eddie Hanna 1. Did you go to college to run your business? No, Eddie Hanna, I never went to college. I never graduated high school. I couldn't sit there. I didn't have it in me. I knew that I always wanted to be a business owner of some kind, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew that let me back up. the thing that I wanted more than anything, if I'm being completely honest, is I wanted to be Norm Abrams. If you guys know who Norm Abrams is, all right? I wanted to be Robert Whitley, right? So who's Robert Whitley? Who's Norm Abrams? Norm Abrams is essentially the new Yankee Workshop. He's a craftsman. He's over in Boston, you know, and he talks woodworking, shows people how to make shit on television. He's been in all the old home magazines. Like, he's kind of like America's woodworker. I wanted to be that guy, but I wanted to be him at a higher level. Who's Robert Whitley? Robert Whitley is the guy that was commissioned to make copies of the Resolute desk, okay? If you guys know anything about furniture, the Resolute desk, for me, is the pinnacle of furniture making because it utilizes all the skills of a craftsman, right? You got to know how to do carving, you got to know how to do design, you got to know how to do engineering, you got to know how to do turning, you got to know how to obviously make things, you got to know how to cut things, you got to know, you know, dovetails, you got to know dados, rabbets, all these different kinds of joints. You have to know all this stuff. So I wanted to be Robert Whitley in the Norm Abrams fashion, right? So obviously I was never going to get that good at this thing because these people are the 1% of the 1%. But I got good enough to where I could make furniture for all the richest people in the world. I was just good enough. And then I turned that into a business, you know? So going to college was never in the cards for a guy like me. What I did learn, though, is that when you learn to do something for decades, right, you beat your head against the wall every day of your life, right? I get fucked on taxes, right? I get fucked hiring people, right? I get fucked making the wrong thing. I end up paying for everything at one form or another, whether like I said, it's hiring people, it's taxes, it's materials, it's labor, it's finding the wrong clients, it's paying taxes that I shouldn't pay, it's not taking deductions that I should take. All these facets of life school you in becoming a business owner. There is no degree that is going to take the place of all of that knowledge from beating my head against the wall for 20 years, okay? It's not necessary to go to school, right? And you can say, well, I'll circumvent all this stuff by going to college. No, you won't. Doesn't work that way. But Eddie Hahn, I hope that answers your question. All right, Jess, back in here. Okay, I understand. I want to work with veterans. Might work at a crisis hotline. Yeah, that's cool. Helping veterans is a good thing. Obviously, I'm a big advocate for veterans. You know, I'm one of these guys that, you know, I'm the guy that when you see the veterans in the restaurant, I'm the guy that always picks up the tab. Like always. At this point, I've been doing this for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years. Like, I'm that guy. I see the police officers, I always pick up their tab. If they'll let me. You got a lot of people, actually, there's a lot of people that won't let you buy their meal. They don't want you to do that for them, you know? So, but yeah, I think that's cool, you know? But the question, Jess, I hope you're asking is like, does it pay? Is there a demand for this thing? If you're gonna spend 4 years going to college to learn psychology, is it even necessary, right? What's the ROI on spending all that time, you know? Because the truth is that most people go to college today, it's not worth it. You know, and my concern is that if you go get a psychology degree, what makes you the person that they're going to want to hire, right? Because truth is that if there's 100 of you with that same degree looking for that same job, why would they hire you? You know, what makes you better than you? Are you a former veteran? Well, do you have veterans in your family that had to deal with PTSD? Like, what is it about your situation that makes you a better candidate than the millions of other people that had that same degree? You know, so. Good luck with that one. I hope it works out. So say JXW9, it's because in the U.S. you're either grift or get grifted. Max, that's kind of a cynical take. All right, Matt Evanson, 04Z. All right, we got the Bible passages in here. Okay, I don't really read Bible passages, but I appreciate it. Everyone needs a little bit of Jesus, I think. Okay, Starboy of the Night. All right, Unity. All right, Sargi 562. You're wrong about illegal immigrants. Okay, Sargi 562. There are plenty of citizens who would adhere to your culture, and you would invest into your own country. Okay, Sargi 562. I'm not exactly sure what you're saying there. Here's my stance on immigrants. Again, I married an immigrant, by the way. I have 5 different countries of origin at my business, okay? So I hire lots of people, all kinds of people, from all different places around the world, because the great thing about America is that we have a lot of people here that come into this country and create what we call the great melting pot, right? Here's the thing about illegal immigrants. We have the rule of law here in America. And again, most people don't adhere to it anymore, which is wild. If you pay your taxes and you contribute to this country, you're actually demonized for being a good example of a U.S. citizen, right? So when you look the other way by allowing illegals to come into this country, you're doing a disservice to this country. When you let criminals get arrested 30, 40 times and judges let them out, again, because maybe they're they're underprivileged, you know, maybe they're, you know, black, maybe they're gay, maybe they're, for whatever reason, there's always a reason to let a criminal out. When you do that, you are shitting on the people that actually pay for this country, right? That actually do the right thing in this country, that follow the law in this country. And so I'm okay if you want to let all the illegals in here, you want to give everyone amnesty, but pass a law, right? Congress needs to do its job, and then they can all stay. Like, I will welcome them into this country with open arms, but they're not doing that, right? So right now, every time they come in here, they're a criminal, in my opinion, right? If you guys look at the statutes that govern who can come into this country, right, and how they're supposed to come into this country, it says that you need to come through a legal port of entry, right? Anything other than that is a crime, right? It starts out as a misdemeanor and then works its way up to a felony, okay? So we have a system to prevent this, but again, most people don't adhere to it, and then politicians and a lot of people today just look the other way. Now, when you get a politician that then comes in and says, you know what, I'm going to enforce the law, I'm going to start deporting all these people because they're not supposed to be here, well, suddenly everyone cries, right? The reason your TSA is fucked right now is because all you bleeding heart liberal people and you pussies that look the other way when it benefits you are suddenly crying now about TSA not being funded, right? Department of Homeland Security not being funded because, you know, Alex Preddy got killed in Minnesota. This little macro issue is shutting down, not shutting down, it is making it inconvenient and even more cumbersome to travel in this country because one guy died in Minnesota while you guys looked the other way for the last 7 years, okay? You know, we got to get right in this country with the rules, right? And whether that's illegal immigration, whether that's protesters, whether that's letting criminals out of jail, whatever it might be, fucking crossing the street illegally. We got to get right about law enforcement in this country. We got to get right about being good, upstanding citizens, following the rules, things like that. And until we do that, you know, I don't want to hear about illegal immigrants. I don't want to hear about anything. I don't want to hear about, you know, your sad, sorry situation. We got to follow the rules. That's all there is to it. So, all right. But again, and Sarge, I've said it before, like, Americans cannot compete with illegal immigrants when it comes to work. Like, we just can't. We don't understand. And again, I say this as an American who married an immigrant, right? So I have a very different perspective on how immigrants view America versus how Americans view America. Most Americans take advantage of this country. They don't understand how good we have it here. They don't have perspective on the amazing thing that America is because they've never left. They've never went to a country that really lives in poverty. They never see what real poverty is like, right? They don't understand that when you flood this country with illegal labor, it makes it harder for everybody else, right? Because what will happen is illegal labor will work 3 or 4 jobs. They don't care about your workplace regulations. They don't care about your transportation regulations. They don't care about your labor regulations. They don't give a fuck about any of that stuff, right? So one of the reasons you guys can't get paid is because business owners would rather hire people that don't care about any of the things that you care about, right? And if you say, well, I want to get paid $50 an hour because I have a degree and I work in this particular thing, they'll say, well, guess what? I can hire Jose. Jose will do the same thing you will, and I'll pay him the same amount of money, but guess what? He's not going to try and sue me. He's not going to bitch about the workplace. He's going to work overtime, right? He's going to come in on holidays. He's going to do all things that you're not willing to do. One of the reasons I'm a big advocate for get all these people out of here. Again, hire people in America using American labor, right? Using American materials and sell to Americans. I'm a big advocate for this, you know, but again, we can all just, you know, be bleeding hearts for illegals and bleeding hearts for criminals and bleeding hearts for the underserved, the underprivileged, the urban community. We can pour our hearts out to these people, but businesses are just going to send all the work to the third world, and they'll bring the third world in here. They'll leave all you fucking people on welfare and on UBI. You know, mark my words, put it on your calendar. Eric said this and whatever. I don't even know what the hell today is, what the 10th of March. I don't know what it is. But again, this is where it's going, guys. If you continue to let the third world in here and you let businesses outsource all your work, if you don't get a 400% tariff on all the shit being made in the third world and mass deportations, again, you guys are all going to end up on welfare or be broke. Because again, you can't compete with the third world. The average American cannot work as hard as an illegal immigrant or will not work as hard as an illegal immigrant because they've never seen so much opportunity in their life. The thing that Americans used to think about America is we can do anything, we can make anything, we can be anyone, we can make tons of money, we can go from being at the bottom of the economy to the top of the economy, okay? Every illegal immigrant sees that. Most Americans do not. And you'll lose every time. You cannot outwork these people. You just can't. You know, again, I work 60, 70, 80 hours a week my entire life, okay? There's no fucking illegal immigrant that's going to outwork me, and I still have that ethos today. But most people in America, they don't have it. And again, when you send everyone to college, instead of making them work in high school and learn what work is really like, they don't have to come out and work till they're 25, 26, 27, hell, fucking 30 years old in some cases. And again, these people don't know what real work is. Illegal immigrants or the third world are going to eat their lunch every day of the week. And that's what we got to fix, guys. Like, as a business owner, a guy that hires people and, again, sees what real work is, most Americans don't understand it, guys. I'm sorry. And it just, again, I lose people when I start talking this way, but this is the thing that we have got to fix in this country. Things will get more expensive. You will have less access to cheap shit from China, but guess what? Slowly, more manufacturing will come back online. Slowly, more American businesses will prop up and produce competition for all of the large mega corporations in America that send all your work to the third world, bring all the third world into America. Slowly, you will get more businesses popping up, and guess what? Prices will come down because of this thing called competition. More supply equals lower prices, right? But if your supply only comes from a handful of companies, guess what, guys? Your prices will never come down. Your jobs will never pay American wages because they don't have to, because they can bring the third world in here, or they can send the work to the third world. But if you put a 400% tariff on everything manufactured overseas, guess what? American businesses aren't going to just suddenly go out of business. Oh, fuck it, I guess I'm just going to go to China and I'll do my business over there. Like, there's no market there. The market is right here in America. And business owners, we're never going to go back to just making shit in our garage, whittling wood, making furniture. It ain't going to happen. We'll find ways to make money in America utilizing wage people, right? People that work, that trade time for money. Like, it will happen. And I'm a broken record on this thing. I'm going to keep beating it to death because that's what I think America really needs. And anyway, so Sarge, again, I like your comment, dude. I appreciate it. But I kind of disagree with you. So, all right, Korn 19. Man, Korn 1998. Man, Korn is, man, what a great band Korn is. I don't know if you guys are into music, but holy shit, the 90s were awesome. The early 2000s for music was just awesome. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, man, when grunge was coming up. Like, it was pretty cool. All right, see, it's part of national defense. All right, so Korn, tell me what's part of national defense. All right, just as I got divorced, son is 23, no one would hire me. I haven't worked in 15 years. Okay, well, again, if you haven't worked in 15 years, because you had a kid who's 23 years old, that's you got to get to work. I mean, I hate to tell you this, but like, you got to go get a job. And again, if your kid's 23 years old, that means he's probably out of the house by now, or he should be out of the house at a minimum. Like, you got to go get a job. You know, no tax on tips. Go get a fucking go get a waitress job. They're all over the place. You know, you're gonna have to work. I'm sorry, it's just you're gonna have to work not only at your one job, but now you're gonna have to go work at another job. You know, you're going to have to work 60 hours a week, get really good at something. And again, I'm sorry you're in your 40s, but it's the only recipe I have for getting good enough at something to make real money, to be able to do something that is going to last longer than you, that's going to be able to pay for your retirement in a meaningful way. You lost a lot of time, you know, and there's no easy answer. And going to school is the easy answer for a lot of people. But the problem is that you end up getting a degree that millions of other people have. And by the time you get to take the advantage of having that degree and then go and getting a job with that degree, millions of other people have already got the good money, and all that's left is the crap money. So again, people come out of college not being able to pay off their student loans, going and taking a job that does not pay what it paid when they started going to college. And I've seen it happen a million times. And Jess, I'm sorry, man, you're gonna have to go get a real job, you know. And hopefully this hotline thing pays real money and you can have a good life. Maybe they'll help you with retirement. Maybe there's pensions, which obviously there would be, but you're behind the eight ball, and that's bullshit. I'm sorry you couldn't make your marriage work. That's a bummer. Again, another thing about America doesn't respect marriage anymore. You know, America, and again, I've been married 3 times. I've worked so hard in my life that no woman could stay with me because I valued work over my marriage in many cases. And it's very unfortunate, but Jess, another thing is that you're 43. 43-year-olds are still hot and attractive. My wife's, you know, she's getting ready to turn 50, and she's like literally a 10. Like, every day I look at my wife and I just think, God damn, man, what the fuck is she doing with me? You know, like, people look at us, they see her, you know, decked out in Chanel, and they see me in some old-ass hoodie that's got tears and things like that, and they can't figure out why we're together. But it's because I'm super useful. Jess, go find a man. Right? Go find someone who makes a little money, has something going on, and go have fun. Like, go find a person that compliments you, that does things you want to do. Maybe that person can help you out. Look for someone that is, you know, I hate to use the word advantageous, but that's okay. Men, we don't mind if someone wants to come on to us that, we're good for them because maybe we make a little bit of money, and vice versa, right? Guys could probably do the same thing with women. Like, it's okay to find a relationship that's advantageous for both people. Do that as well. I'm not above that. No one's to be above that. But I will say, marriages don't work the way that they used to. And again, my wife's from India, where they get married really young, and there's a lot of arranged marriages, and most people don't get divorced in her culture, which is very helpful for someone like me who likes to work all the time. So, Jess, I appreciate the candidness, man. Yeah, it's a bummer, man. But yeah, your boy made it 23. You got him raised. Hopefully he's doing good. And just keep going. Okay, HG Winkleton the third. Sure, the water skier. I'm not sure it's gonna. I love water skiing, by the way. Okay, Gabo. Okay, Gabo's back in here. Appreciate you being back. Even though it comes back in the stream, I always appreciate you guys hanging out and adding comments and coming back and talking with us again. If you guys are in the stream, hit the like button, add discussion. Small business owner, never graduated high school. This is my perspective. We're talking taxes today. I'm talking to you guys about how I use the tax system to make money for my business, how I use it to buy equipment, hire more people, get more efficient, find more customers, so on and so forth. And we're talking about the one big beautiful bill, Trump's, I think, only major legislative gain as a president. And again, not very good one, but it's something, I guess. So we're just going through comments. And again, guys, sorry, I need to get all this stuff. I need to get through the comments and get back to my topic here. Okay, right. No school, DIY doctors are underrated. Yeah, and again, people love to talk about, yeah, oh my God, we want all of our doctors not going to college. And again, you fucking simpleton people, like this is the kind of stuff you do. And again, school is for smart people, right? School is for people that will go on to be doctors. Maybe will go on to be engineers. Maybe will go on to be lawyers, right? School makes sense for these kind of people. School doesn't make sense for 80% of the people that go to school, because again, you're not going to take a dumb person and make them smart. Yeah, maybe you're going to take a handful of people and they are actually smart, right? No one discovered it, and when they go to college, suddenly their mind is blown up, right? But what's the cost to expand everyone's mind, right? We're $1.7 trillion in student loan debt out there because, again, no one can pay their fucking debt off, because when they go to school, they don't learn a skill that actually pays the bills, right? But oh my God, I'm a woman, I'm gay, I'm black, I'm Asian, I'm this, I'm that. Like, I got the degree, I did everything I was supposed to do. You're not being rewarded, and we got people still going to college trying to think that, oh my God, I'm gonna go be again, we got Justin, I'm gonna be the 10 millionth psychologist, when again, we got way more psychologists than we need, but it's what I wanna do. Like, it's my passion. And again, nothing wrong with passion, and I'm glad that this is what people wanna do, but at the end of the day, you gotta make some fucking money. You got to be able to pay for a house. You got to be able to pay for kids. You got to be able to pay for a home. You got to be able to pay back the student loans. And I advocate for, instead of going to college, go find a small business to go work for. Go find a company to go work for as an 18-year-old, as a 16-year-old. Show a business owner, hey, man, I want to come do what it is that you do. I think this would be really cool. But again, when you give people the option of, hey, let's go to college. This will be fun. 4 years of, co-ed environment. I can go have sex all the time. I can go hook up with boys. I can go hook up with girls. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to go expand my mind, right? And then they get on the workforce. They're 24 years old. No one wants to fucking hire them because they got the same goddamn degree they've been giving out for the last decade. Okay. Instead, you could have went to a small business, made $15 an hour as a guy sweeping floors, worked your way up in that same 4 to 6 year period, come out, right, from high school, making $70,000 a year, no student loan debt. You work for a company that actually likes you, have a skill that a company actually needs, and you will continue to get paid. You can advance if you want. You can do all kinds of things. But no, go get the college degree. Don't listen to the dumb guy that never went to college. He doesn't know anything. Just keep doing the thing that the experts told you to do. While they shovel your jobs to the third world, while they bring the third world into this country, you think that you're going to win by going and getting an office job with your college degree. I'm telling you guys, you ain't. Those days are over. Now, if you're really good at what you do and you have a college degree, you'll do just fine. But again, I play on the rule of averages, right? And most people are not going to get the advantages of college by way of a wage and a job when they come out of college. And it's just how it is. All right, okay, elect a vet for president. Yeah, I used to think that electing a veteran would be the way to go. They'd keep us out of war. It'd be good for society because they actually kind of understand what it means to come up from because the truth is that most veterans, guys, come from where I came from. They come from poverty. They come from the Midwest. They come from flyover country. They come from a lot of places that most people don't want to be. And it's a great way as a dumb person to get an education, to go see the world, to go do something, be a part of a team, be part of a unit, add value to your country, right? Service is an amazing thing. I don't know that that's even going to work anymore. I think that this guy this guy JD Vance, right? He's kind of being groomed to be the next president. He seems to me like he's a Manchurian Candidate, right? He is essentially, if you guys have ever seen the movie The Manchurian Candidate with Denzel Washington and Liev Schreiber, he's basically being groomed to be the president so he can essentially be controlled by this puppet group of people, which are people like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen, these kind of technocratic, basically the next part of our government that's going to come in, which is this technocracy. I think that's what that guy is, and he's a veteran. So veterans are good. I like the idea of a veteran being president. I like the idea of veterans in politics and at the highest echelons of government. But we got a veteran right now, the head of the Department of War, who is over there bombing a country in a war of choice, which I don't think any veteran would want to just go do something because they can. I think a veteran would want to defend the homeland, and a veteran would only go to war if they had to because they understand what war really means. But this Pete Hegseth guy, who I do like, by the way, I don't think he is acting in the way a veteran would normally act. But I mean, what do I know? I don't know, man. But yeah, I'm a big advocate for veterans, and yeah, we should get more vets in office. I think it'd be good for people. We'd get less people. I mean, well, hell, if you guys, like, I'm gonna throw some shade on your argument, okay? Lindsey Graham, the craziest fucking person we have in politics today, neocon, war hawk, like Israel bloodlust, trade every American for the state of Israel, fucking psychopath, served 33 years in the Air Force as a JAG officer, right? So be careful what you ask for, put it that way. Okay, I did a stream the other day talking about how psycho this guy is and how Megyn Kelly, who's a Republican, but kind of an independent, like she just eviscerated this guy and just talks about how psychotic this man is. And again, 33 years, Army veteran, but again, no kids, no wife, may or may not, anyway, it might not work out just to have veterans in there. So, all right, okay, yes, all my male family is veterans. I have lived with a veteran with every branch. Well, that's great, Jess. So, sounds like you're moving, in the direction you want to go. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully the psychology thing works out. Like I said, I know in the law of averages that when you go do the same thing over and over again, you send people to do the same thing over and over again, you end up with an abundance of those people that all have the same skills. And then what happens to that wage is it gets diminished, right? And then you factor in something like AI. How long before, instead of talking to Jess, the combat veterans have to talk to an AI that sounds like Jess? And AI works for 3 cents an hour, which is basically just maintenance on the system. Like we're in scary times, guys. We're in uncharted waters. All right, Core 1999, elect a vet for president. I like your comment, dude, but I don't know if it's gonna work. Titan Brews in here. Titan, good to see you, man. Titan's one of our moderators. So all you guys that like to throw your goofball comments in here, they'll probably get eradicated now. So all right, good morning. I'm looking into purchasing a scroll saw. Is there any scroll saw manufacturers and models that would recommend? I'm using the scroll saw to prepare parts for my boat molding hobby, or boat modeling hobby. I'm not a scroll saw guy, if I'm being completely honest. I bought a couple scroll saws in my day, but I didn't end up using them, to be completely honest with you. If you're gonna do scroll saw work, I hate to say it, but scroll saw, while you can definitely get super intricate little patterns, I would consider getting a CNC, man. Like get a hobby CNC. You can find them online for $1,500, and you can program all that stuff up. I mean, they literally got things now where you can take a picture of an intricate piece of scroll work, and you can then put that into your CAD program, and then put it in your CAM software, and then your CNC router will literally just cut it out based on an image. So there's a lot of great advantages to CNC routers. Scroll saw is a lot of fun, but the ones that I bought, so Delta used to make an old scroll saw that was pretty good. It was, oh God, I'm drawing a blank on exactly the, it was Delta, but it was Delta, I want to say it was called Delta Shop, maybe. And again, this would be like from the 90s. They seem like great scroll saws. DeWalt also made an old school scroll saw that was really good. But as far as like modern scroll saws, I don't have the information, man, because I don't use a scroll saw that much. I use a pin router, which is an old school kind of tool, like a scroll saw in many ways. But yeah, sorry, dude, man, I don't have a great recommendation for you on that one because it's not what I deal with. Like I said, when I used to have this place I used to have this old home called the Fraser House. You guys can Google it. It's a famous home in El Dorado, Kansas. And it was an old Queen Anne Victorian home. And so sometimes I would have to replicate trim for the house, so I had a scroll saw for doing that. So old homes used to have this thing called ornate fretwork. Fretwork is the technical term. And they would do all this great, beautiful work inside of these old turn of the century painted lady homes. And a lot of times that shit would break over the years. You know, the home gets hot, the home gets cold, and eventually it starts to snap and brittle and fall apart because it was all made of hardwood and softwood, right? It wasn't made out of composite and plastic, plaster and stuff like that. So you'd have to remake that stuff from time to time. And so I had a scroll saw just to do that. And everything in that home was oak, right? All the interior moldings, and I mean, it was all oak. And that shit would just, over the years, it would, like I said, it would just swell and crack out. And you could fill it with putty and you could sand it and make it last for a little, but eventually the putty would then start to break and it just would get so bad that it was unrepairable, you know? So anyway, Titan, sorry, dude, I don't have a great recommendation for you there. I let you down, man. All right, Core 1999, no, a draft dodging POS. Yeah, and again, say what you guys will about Trump. You guys know I'm not a big fan of Trump. I worked 10 years to get that guy into government. I swore to that guy for 10 years. I'm the guy that had the Trump 2024 signs. Like I'm that guy. And he's been a wild disappointment as a president. And again, I don't know that Kamala Harris would have been any worse from a war standpoint, from a tax standpoint. Because again, Trump's going to cut my taxes like 5 to 10 grand a year, right? Kamala probably would have raised them 5 to 10 grand a year, and then someone else would have came in after her, and it just would have done the seesaw. Like, we need major change in this country, and when you elect politicians every year, and when politicians' incentive is to basically get reelected, not really to help the people in any meaningful way, to push the culture forward, we just end up where we're at today. And then again, when you don't have a balanced budget amendment and politicians can just print money, the government just prints money at infinitum, it's just a matter of time before it all goes, it all collapses, you know. So learn to make some shit, guys. You know, buy guns, buy ammo. What does the people say? You know, store up some water, buy some 50-year food rations. Okay, Ed Hana 1, I see, which skills are the most useful on a day-to-day to ensure the company stays afloat? The most useful skill at this point in my life is to have good employees. It's the only thing that matters to me. Because point is like, if I get sick, I can't go to work. I've got furniture makers that can do what I do, right? I've got sanders, painters, finishers, assemblers. They could all do what I can do. I don't have to be there, right? So having good employees is everything, right? So the weakness as a business that we have today is on our sales, right? Our sales and marketing, because my wife is still the only person that does those things. So if there's anything that we need to do as a company, is we need to get away from this business model of talking to our customers on an individual basis all the time. We need to do less talking to customers and put together a platform that allows another person to do that, or allows customers not to have to talk to us and just buy off of our website. So the most useful skill is retaining talent, and whether that means paying them, training them, helping them out with their personal bullshit, giving them a better place to work, making sure they have the equipment they need to do their job, making sure that they're incentivized to be there, whether that's bonuses, great break room, buying my fucking people beer, buying them lunch, giving them good bonuses on vacation, or excuse me, good bonuses at the holidays, vacation pay, whatever it is, you know, naked women, naked men, whatever I gotta do to keep these guys happy and to keep them coming to work with a fucking smile on their face. That's what I do every day. That is the greatest skill. Now, prior to this, when we were starting this company, the greatest skill was actually making furniture, right? Having the 20 years of furniture making skills in many different industries, the 40 hours a week at the job, the 60 hours a week in overtime, the 20 hours a week trying to start a small business for 20 years. That was the thing that allowed me to grow the company into what it is today. Okay, so that was the most important skill then. So now, different set of skills now because the company's at a different level. We've been around long enough. You know, it's something now you said. So one of the things I guess I didn't really think about that much is curiosity, right? Interest in learning new things might actually be the most important thing, because I do all the engineering, right? So when it comes to, I had to learn how to use SolidWorks, which is a CAD software. I had to learn to use Vectric, which is a CNC cam program, right? I had to learn how to build a CNC router because I couldn't afford to buy a brand new one for 60 grand. I had to learn all my woodworking skills. I had to learn how planning works. I had to learn how to do drawings. I had to learn tax policy. I had to learn how insurance works. So maybe the actual most useful skill is being interested in learning new things and not giving up when it comes to learning those new things. Because the people that sell the master classes and the top tier business people, they always tell you things like hire out your weaknesses, right? Stuff like that, like focus on the stuff that you're passionate about. And the truth is, guys, there's no fucking money for that, you know? So you got to bust your ass. You got to learn the thing, and you're going to learn it. It's going to suck. You're going to spend even more time learning it, more time failing, reworking things, so on and so forth. But you got more money for other things, so like buying equipment, like hiring employees, so long-winded answer, man. It's just, like I said, as you start a business and grow a business, the skill set that are the most important day to day, they change, so. All right, Son says, Eddie, I know you talked about the importance of shopping around for things you use regularly. Yeah, again, I shop around all the time, guys. I'm always looking for, most of my tools are cheap, or they're used tools. Very rarely do I buy a new machine. I've got, I mean, as my business has grown, I've bought more new equipment than I would normally buy. But again, like I started my entire business with about $4,000 worth of Grizzly tools that I bought as a package from the owner of our building, who was just storing a lot of shit there. I bought all of his old tools. That's how we grew this company, So I grew it with $4,000 in woodworking machines, and that's it. All right, let's see, noted, thanks. All right, what's this sacred utterance for real, for real, Courtney, dude with some tattoos and smokes a joint. In the more, okay, again, I don't know who you guys are talking about. Those are the people that actually build airplanes, right? These are the people they get stoned every day. They're tatted up. They got big beards. They ride in on motorcycles every day. Work. This is your average Boeing employee that goes and makes your guys' commercial aircraft. So do with that information what you will. People always talk about, oh my God, terrorists. I'm worried about terrorists getting on planes. I'm worried about, someone putting a plane down, bombs, missiles, all these kind of things. Like, no, I worry about the people that make airplanes. I worry about the maintenance crew that services all the airplanes. All right, Soul Capitalist 6208, the Osprey. Hell yeah, man. The Osprey is great. Love that band. And you guys want to hear some great stories about the band, the Offspring? Like, go look at how the guy, Dexter, the singer, and then the guy Noodles, the guitar player, look at how they approach fame and money. It's like literally a college level lesson on how to manage money. One guy did all the right things, the other guy did all the wrong things. But man, love that band. Okay, let's see. They look like people. What a time to be alive. Yeah, and we live in interesting times, guys. I forget who said it. May you live in interesting times, but holy shit, we are in them. All right, Truth National Uncensored back in here. Good to see you, dude. Okay, I'm fine laughing loud. Not if you're smart. Okay, not sure what you're saying. If you're smart, that's okay. Work smarter, not harder. And again, you hear these kind of sayings, and again, what these people that say work smarter, not harder, like, of course, that goes without saying. But I think that's been changed. Like this idea, like, don't work with your hands. Go to college so that you could pay somebody else to work with their hands, right? That sounds great, guys. I'm here to tell you guys, it's mostly bullshit. Like, all of you guys are going to have to work harder before you can work smarter. Truth is, you have to work harder in order to learn how to work smarter. I don't hear enough people say that, and that's been my experience. And it's just, again, that's one of those quotes that I've always just kind of like what? Like, who the fuck thinks this is like real? You learn to work smarter by beating your head against the wall, right? This is how you figure this stuff out. You're like, no, I'm going to go to college and get a master's in business. I'm going to go get my MBA so I can learn how to work smarter, not harder. It's like, I think it's bullshit. Okay, Jesse, see, I'm on a farm and a caregiver. I work every day. I just don't clock in. Man, yeah. And I grew up on a farm. I grew up on a Christmas tree farm, believe it or not. And then we always had a farm. We always had some kind of a garden, going on. Yeah, a farm. And again, this is one of those deals where, like, I feel bad for people that are in these situations because, Jess, you're probably married for a long time, raise your kids. You're like, this is how it's going to be. We're going to grow old together. The husband makes the money, blah, 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 blah. Whether maybe the farm makes the money, I don't know. But when all that shit changes, like, you got to pivot, like, very quickly. And the way I see people pivoting today is not necessarily going to college. Now, if you're an older person, you can't put in the years of doing the hard work to get the high pay to start a business, so on and so forth. There's not a lot of great solutions, So again, if you're going to school for psychology, you're gonna, work the hotlines, you're gonna help veterans and all this kind of stuff. Maybe that's a good thing, Maybe you're choosing the right path. It's not the path that I would take personally, but maybe that's the only choice you got, and maybe that's what it's gonna be. Maybe you're gonna, do the remote school, right? So you can stay at home and you're gonna get this degree and you're gonna go make some money. I hope it works out, So these again, marriage is not respected in this country. It's not treated the way it should be treated, and the incentives for getting married and the incentives for getting divorced are really fucked up in this country. And Jess, I hope I hope this works out for you. And again, come back and keep talking and keep batting these topics around. I really appreciate being here. And I'm curious what your farm is like. I want to know what kind of farm you got. All right, Truth Uncensored, F College, biggest scam. Yep, it's a pretty big scam. You mean women don't respect it? Well, yes and no, but we got this woman Jess here, right? So she's been here. She works on a farm. She raised her kid, and she's in a situation now where she was it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jess, but it sounds like she was mom, wife, mother, all these kind of things, and now she's divorced. Now her income is completely cut off. She's got to learn to make money in this world, and so she's going to have to go out and learn and do something. She's going to school to get a psychology degree, and she's going to help veterans deal with PTSD and whatever their issues are. She's going to be one of these hotline workers. I've actually known a person that did this back in Oklahoma. But it's a good way to make money. And again, if we keep going fucking with all these other countries, we're going to have a lot of veterans. They're going to need this kind of help. So maybe it's a growing market or a growing industry. I don't know. But yeah, it's men and women are in a bad spot. Like I said, I'm one of these guys. Like, I wasn't a very good husband. I chose work over my marriages most of the time. I ended up paying alimony, I ended up paying child support forever, and fucking sucked, But because I love to work, because I love to make money, and because I'm trying to prove everyone wrong that I grew up with in high school, I still had that chip on my shoulder today. I just did it. I just paid it. I did whatever I had to do, and it worked out okay, So, all right, let's see here. Let's see, women don't even respect themselves anymore. Well, okay, well, hold on. It says we got pensions. That's funny. Yeah, I know. There's probably pensions are a thing of the past. Who started the pension? Like, American Express is actually the company that started the pension. Private industry, or private company. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Okay, you mean women don't respect it? Okay, we already read your comments. This pension, that's funny. Women don't even respect themselves anymore. And again, I've told you guys many times, like, this is the country of OnlyFans, right? A lot of women today are aspiring to get onto OnlyFans. They can't wait to turn 18 so they can get on OnlyFans and do debaucherous, degenerate shit. And that's a big problem. I don't know how we change this culture to where women no longer not only want to do that, but need to do that. If for women, the only choice is going to college or being on OnlyFans, like, I think I saw a stat that something like 12% of 18 to 20-year-old women in America are on OnlyFans or have been on OnlyFans. Like, that's not good, guys. That's not good. And the thing about OnlyFans that really bothers me is that the guy that founded OnlyFans is the largest donator to AIPAC, right? Which is this PAC that essentially advocates for the state of Israel. I don't like that. I don't like that. That's where that guy puts his money and does it using a massively degenerate product that is not good for our society. But anyway, I always make a point to mention that because I'm a capitalist. I like business owners. I like the idea that people can create whatever kind of a business they want, but I almost draw the line. I'm also a free speech absolutist, right? But what this thing does to our culture today, and you couple that with high inflation, high cost of everything, everyone needs to make shit tons of money in order to survive in America, it creates a recipe that is not good for women. Anyway, it's bad news. Okay, Truth Nation, the Mikado 16, married 13 years, been together 20. Man, good for you. That's awesome, Mikado. It's marriage is tough, and it's not supposed to be easy. And I think that we kind of delude people into thinking that, I'm gonna marry my best friend, and it's gonna be awesome, and we're gonna have sex 4 times a week, and it's gonna be this incredible thing. We're gonna go off and we're gonna conquer the world together. And it's not really what a marriage is, unfortunately. Like, marriage is. Except as I get older, I look back on it. Like, I wasn't a very good husband. I didn't know a lot about relationships, and I wish I'd known what I know today. It was, back then, I wish I'd known today what. I wish I knew yesterday what I know today. But it's tough, So, all right, to Mikado, man, good for you. Okay, Chris 4087. What's the polygamy success rate? Man, I think polygamy is actually pretty good, right? There might be something to that, Women are crazy, man. You got to be able to bounce from one wife to another wife to another wife. I don't know. Gender studies, yeah. Zigzag, yeah. Gender studies is, that's always the one that people. There's not a lot of gender studies degrees, other guys. It's the one that people always hop on to make fun of because it's like basket weaving. That's the thing. When you get the government involved in education, inevitably you're going to get colleges that will cater to everyone, right? And the truth is, when you cater to everyone, you cater to no one. So what they do is they raise the prices on everything. They start creating these bullshit degrees like gender studies and basket weaving, and you end up where we are today, $1.7 trillion in student loan debt. Most people that have degrees today cannot make enough money to pay them off, okay? Which tells you that business model has failed. And the reason it's failed is because you've told people that if you're dumb and you're not very ambitious, going to college is going to fix all that. And it doesn't. College is meant for smart people, right? And then when you get politicians like Donald Trump saying, well, we can't not let the Asians come in here because otherwise the colleges will go under. It's like the fucking college system is for Americans. It shouldn't be supported by the third world. And that's what the third world understands about American universities that Americans don't understand about American universities. They send the smartest, the best and brightest here to America to learn. We just send to everyone and tell them you're immediately going to become smart. You're going to be better off because you went to college. And the truth is that you're not. You're not going to be better off. Some people will be. If you're smart and intelligent, you actually do in college what college is meant to do for you, then it'll work out. But most people don't go to college because they want to get educated and become intelligent and become massively useful to other people. They go to college to put off real work. So anyway, okay, college degree is the #1 class shifter. #2 is trade schools. Yeah, give me that stat here in about 12 months. And again, if you look at the stats on colleges, 50% of all the people that went to college now don't believe that going to college was worth it, okay? So add that to your stat statistics there, Kane. And again, college used to be the #1 class shifter in America because the thing that shifted everyone out of the poor into the middle class was the thing that they sent to the third world so they could give you guys cheaper shit and give you an incentive to go to college. College would have never been a possibility had they not sent all the real work to the third world, right? And then that that's true because instead of shifting the colleges into the working class, they then brought the third world in here as well, right? They sent the work to the third world, then they brought the third world in here and kept you guys going to college because it keeps you distracted. Now that a lot of you are getting out of college, you're getting into the workplace, you're like, oh my God, this is fucked up. Like, I can't make the money that I was promised, right? I can't actually buy a home, I can't buy a car, I can't pay off the student loans, I can't afford my credit cards, I can't afford the fucking insurance on my home, I can't afford the fucking insurance on my car. I have to have insurance for everything, right? I can't afford health care. Everyone's realizing how the system really works and why it doesn't work, especially if you went to college. And especially if you got one of these generic degrees that everybody else has been getting for the last 15 years. It doesn't work. It's basic supply and demand, guys. You want to stay employed, you want to make real money in America, do something that's hard, do something that most people don't want to do, and guess what? You'll probably always have a job, you'll probably always make decent money. All right, let's see. I love trade schools for people, but this is slop. Okay, well, again, you're probably one of these people that thinks that, you're probably be one of these people that wants to go to you guys know that Harvard's starting their own trade school? You guys want to go to Harvard for trade schools? You want to get a bachelor's in general labor? You want to go to, you guys want to go here to WashU in St. Louis? You want to get a degree in roofing? You want to get a degree in general contracting? You guys see how this works? Again, the degree is not necessary. It's the work ethic that's necessary, right? It's the better class of business owners that is necessary. It's getting the third world out of here so more people have access to these jobs. It's cutting off all the manufacturing in the third world so that American entrepreneurs and business owners have to hire Americans and pay American wages. If you guys want to see regulations and things like OSHA, EPA, all the tort regulation we have here, all the transportation regulation. If you want to see that stuff get reduced so that we can build more homes and create more jobs, well, the businesses have to operate within the system that they've created, but they don't. They send all that work to the third world where there are no regulations, where you don't have high labor standards, or they bring the third world into America where they don't care about the labor standards. They don't care about the insurance. They don't care about the health care. They just want a job, right? They just want to do something. They'll work 3 or 4 jobs. They'll work 80 hours a week, while the average American doesn't really even want to work 40 hours a week if they had a choice. So you guys are set up to fail right now, and until you guys open your eyes, it's only going to get worse. So you're all going to end up on UBI. You're all going to end up on welfare. And again, most business owners and large corporations are happy to pay for your welfare. They're happy to pay for your SNAP. They're happy to pay for your Section 8. They're happy to pay for your Netflix subscription. They're happy to pay for all the video games, the weed. They'll pay for all that shit. Just stay out of their businesses. And that's a sad state that our country's in. And I say it all the time and I lose people, but that's what's really going on, guys. So, all right. But Kane, man, I appreciate it. Like I said, I love the pushback, guys. I'm all for it. All right. Yes, JD Vance, Palantir is human. Do not trust him. Yeah, JD Vance is a plant. And again, you guys notice JD Vance is silent on all this war shit. He's silent on everything right now. The guy, we haven't even heard from this guy. It's like he doesn't even exist anymore. So he must be out of the country or something. I don't know where he's at. Let's see, Gabo. How much longer are white-collar jobs going to really last for with AI? Yeah, and again, I don't think AI is going to replace all your white-collar jobs, but AI is going to replace all your entry-level work, right? So again, you got a choice. I can go to work out of high school, or I can go to college. What are most people going to choose? They're going to go to college, right? So you go to college for 4 to 6, hell, people are going to college for 7 years now. Well, then you get out and you're like, oh my God, I got a degree. I'm going to go conquer the world. I'm going to go make a lot of money. It's going to be amazing. And then you're realizing that, oh my God, I don't have the job prospect that I was promised when I went into college, right? Again, this entry-level work isn't there. Instead, you're going to have to go work as a barista for a while. Maybe you got to go be a waitress, right? Or maybe, I mean, heaven forbid, you got to go back to school and now you got to go to second degree, because that's the only way you can get enough money, because student loans are guaranteed and they'll give them out to anybody. It's the only way you can afford to live is just to continuously go back to school. Well, it's kind of a form of welfare, guys, if I'm being completely honest, right? You can't make money in the real world, so let's go to this fake world, which is academia, and I can afford to live there by continuing to go to college, you know. And it's, like I said, the system's whack, guys. It's so whack. We need less people going to college. We need more people getting out and doing real work, especially young, really young. I'm talking about like you're in high school. You need to go to work. You're in high school. You need to go work for a small business when you get out of school. You need to go learn what it's like to work. You need to learn to go up and show up on Saturday and Sunday and do something. You know, oh, but kids want to be kids. Kids need to be kids. Again, there's still plenty of time for kids to be kids. But they need to learn what real work is. And until we get back to that way of operating in our country, we're just going to continue to spiral. Everyone's going to be in debt. No one's going to be able to afford anything. We're just going to expect the third world to make everything. And all the corporations are going to continue to be the only avenue for you guys to buy anything. They're going to be the only avenue for your welfare. They're going to be the only avenue for you to get anything. And it's a bad deal. So, all right, Chris 4087. Rather that than men can be women and women can be men. Yeah, and again, this is what you get when you send people to college. You give them all these fucked up thoughts. They're terrified of things like climate change. You know, they think that trans rights are human rights, and they think they just end up with all these fucking weird thoughts. You know that. It's colleges are not what they used to be. It's too bad. All right, hands off our children. Yeah, right. Simple. Okay. Let's see. Every time I see Lindsey Graham's face, I hear him say, "Yeah, Israel. It's Israel. It's Israel." Yeah, Lindsey Graham's hilarious. I fucking hate that guy so much. Like, God, get that guy. Get South Carolina. You have an election for this guy next year. Like, if there's anyone in South Carolina here, like, please vote this homicidal maniac out of office. Like, disgusting individual. Disgusting individual. Okay, he's literally like Lindsey Graham almost fits the definition of committing treason. Right? He literally was going over to Israel, talking with them about how to influence our president. Okay, now giving aid and comfort to the enemy is the definition of treason. And again, some people say, well, Israel's our ally. Israel's our ally. It sure doesn't seem like that to me. You know, after I start piece all these things together, I think Israel's doing what's good for Israel, which you could say the same thing for China. China's going to do what's good for China. You know, but we don't have anyone going over to China trying to tell them how to manipulate our president. We got this one senator in South Carolina that's clearly going over to Israel to manipulate our president, which could potentially send all your sons and daughters off to a third world shithole, which none of you are ever going to go to, and to support a country you're never going to go to. Scary times. Let's see. I got the 50% deposit for my first batch order. I make outdoor benches. Someone ordered 14. Well, that's good, man. I got 50% deposit for my first batch order. I make outside benches. Someone ordered 14. Okay. See, I have the room to make exactly 3. Well, that's okay, man. One of the things that, so taking 50% up front is kind of standard operating procedure for most businesses. And that's kind of how we all start out. Your goal is to get 100% up front. Your goal is to get good enough at what it is you do to have enough repeat customers and have enough of a name for yourself, to have enough of a catalog of work, and to be in business long enough to where you demand 100% payment up front, and then you don't have to run into the problems that you're about to run into, that most businesses run into, if I'm being completely honest. And that is that 50% will cover your materials. That 50% will probably cover some of the electricity. I don't know if you're a one-man operation. That may cover some of your employees' wages. If you have employees, it may cover some of your taxes. But what it's not going to cover, it's not going to cover the fuck-ups, right? It's not going to cover the extra trips to the Home Depot to buy material, to the lumber yard to buy material. It's not going to cover the extra trips to Sherwin to buy paint, to buy lacquer, to buy, whatever exterior grade finish you're putting on these benches. It's not going to cover all that kind of stuff. So if you don't get that job delivered on time and with minimal mistakes, that 50% is going to run out very quickly. And then you're digging into credit cards. You're digging into your own personal savings account. You're digging into a myriad of other sources of income to get the job done, right? So funny thing, I just got a call from a company yesterday. They wanted me to they wanted me to finish 14 coffee tables. And so I sent them a bid. I told them I'll refinish 14, or not refinish, I will high gloss lacquer 14 coffee tables for you for a commercial job. I told them it's going to cost you $1,000 a piece. And they're like, oh God, that's awesome. That's a great price. And so we had another call with them, a follow-up call to schedule payment and to get the ball rolling to, take care of shipping and all that. And They said, well, so this $14,000. So this is you realize there's 3 different kinds of coffee tables. I was like, yeah, no problem. Like we'll $1,000 a pop, no problem. They're like, well, okay, we only got $18,000 for this job, and we just couldn't find anyone else to build these things and paint them for $18,000. So it's nice you're able to do it for $14,000. I had no idea they wanted me to build 14 coffee tables and finish them for $14,000. So I had to say, no, this isn't gonna work, guys. Sorry about that. So things get lost in translation. And again, when you take 50% down, right? Because again, I wouldn't even take on a job unless I get paid in full. We don't do that. Well, we haven't done that for 6 years at this point. One of your goals needs to be to get payment in full, right? So again, 50% up front, great way to start, but you need to move towards building your catalog, building your customer base, and then you can get that full 100% less risk. But hopefully everything goes well for you, and hopefully you're able to get this job done, and you don't have cost overruns, and you get it done in time to where you don't run out of money. You're not looking for credit, and keep going, man. I guess fantastic. If you only got room for 3, you got to make, what was it, 14 of these things? How many do you say you got to make? 14 of them? Friggin' awesome, man. Get after it. Okay, Titan Brew, a hobby CNC. That sounds very interesting. I can create parts from scratch. Thanks for the advice. Yeah, and it's not something I would normally say, but a hobby, they're so cheap now. It kind of makes sense, Titan, to at least entertain the idea. If you need help with anything on the CAD CAM side, let me know. I can give you some tips. SolidWorks is kind of expensive. You can find some cheaper products for CAD and CAM. And there's a lot of companies you can actually just buy pre-made programs and then just throw them onto your router and kind of, there's a lot of stuff that's just literally just plug and play at this point. You don't even have to do the design work, So just something to think about there, Titan. All right, Chris, wait till adults, then try and control them, leave the kids alone. Yeah, again, you gotta let parents, take care of their kids. You can't let the government do it. It's just a recipe for disaster. All right, C-Type, congratulations. Mike is making stuff. It sounds like you're on the way to building your business. Yeah, good. And again, Mike, man, keep coming in here. You guys, you ask all the questions you want. You got any questions, put it in the chat. Happy to answer them. I wish it were that easy. Maybe luck will shine on me, storing and delivering with a freaking U-Haul. Mike, that's how we all start out, man. All of us start out with a U-Haul. All of us start out with hiring people on U-Ship to deliver things. All of us hire, going to pick up that U-Haul trailer, get Penske. Penske is a little bit better than U-Haul, but that's how we all start out, And again, this is where you're going to learn the more efficient ways to deliver things. You're going to learn the better ways to make products, to set up your tools, set up your shop, set up your garage if you're in a garage. Like you're going to learn what's better, 220 machine versus a 110 machine. You're going to learn this product is more stable than this product, right? If I charge a little bit more, I don't have as much fucking cupping and warping and twisting of material. I get better products when I order from this vendor versus this vendor. I get better pricing from this vendor. And this is unfortunately how it is. And again, we can help to move you in the right direction and give you advice. But if I'm in St. Louis, my information in St. Louis, some of it will apply if you're in Pennsylvania. But again, I got different vendors here. I got access to different shippers here. I got access to different equipment, different machines, different facilities, different people. So we can help you along, but the only way to really learn, guys, is to do it, And again, some fucking professor ain't gonna teach you how to do it. I'm sorry. The professor, most people that teach failed at doing. So just take that in mind. But again, so Mike, one thing, Titan Brew had an asphalt company, if I remember correctly, for a long time, retired, was a successful business owner, So I've got a business now, do about 500 pieces a year. Reasonably successful, but I'm still doing it. I'm still in the game. I'm still beating my head against the wall every day, trying to make this thing work. Okay, did you save your CNC and cut anything? Yeah, so son, my CNC is 75% put together. I spent the entire last week building this desk that I delivered. The client loved it, these $20,000 brass desks that I make. And so now I'm back on the CNC router today. So yeah, hopefully I'll power up to it this weekend. I've got, like I said, I'm putting the electronics onto the CNC right now. The structure's built, the base, all the motors and all that shit, the gantries, all the stuff's put on. It's just electronics. I need to run some 220 over to my breaker boxes. I've got all the cable, so I've got that coming up. And then I've got the vacuum system, which I need to set up as well. It's here, but I need to get it set up. So I still do have quite a bit of work, but I'm getting close. All right, let's see. Well, it's definitely true. Good help is really nice to have. You and your wife make a pretty awesome team. Synergy. Yeah, and again, my wife is what I lacked my entire life. That is a salesperson. That's a marketing person. That is a design person. My wife is an amazing designer, and she just has an aesthetic that, again, other women like. 92% of all my customers owning a furniture company are women, guys. So you need to understand that if you want to make a lot of money, or maybe not make a lot of money, but if you want to have a lot of sales, you want to have more opportunities to sell, try selling to women. They're the ones that make most of the decisions in the home, if I'm being completely honest. Like most guys, if it were up to men, you know, to buy shit in America, like all we would buy are cars and guns. We wouldn't buy furniture. We have a nice fucking television and video games. We'd all sit on box furniture and lawn chairs. Women want beautiful walls, and they want, you know, beautiful chandeliers, and they want beautiful furniture with ornate details. They love brass. They love shiny this. You know, they like having nice kitchens, nice cabinets, nice fucking everything. This is how the world works, guys. So if you're men, you're in here, you want to do this kind of thing, give that a shot. And another thing, I never tell you guys this, but again, you guys ever want to set up a telephone call with me, send me an email at modernwoodrunner@gmail.com. Go to theresplendentcrow.com. You guys send me an email. I have conversations with people. I charge $150 an hour. I'm happy to talk to you guys about anything you want to talk. You can send me questions beforehand. I'll give you guys some good information about things, help you with vendors or whatever. But yeah, I never really talk about it, but it's something that I offer people. I'm happy to do it, but you got to have skin in the game. I won't talk to somebody just because they want to, you know, they want to vent to me about their fucking problems. So, all right, Titan Brew, Mike is making stuff. Hey, we all have to start somewhere. You started, and that takes a lot of courage most people lack. So yeah, again, Mike, the hardest thing is to start, and the next hardest thing is to keep it going, right? When you run into problems, most people buckle. They get so frustrated, they just quit, or they get so frustrated, they put it down for a week, and then when they go back, they've lost all their momentum. The consistency and just keeping going, the ability to learn new things. Like I said, there's one thing I can impart to people that want to start new businesses. You're going to have to learn a lot of shit, so just get comfortable with failing today. Get comfortable with not understanding how CNC works. Get uncomfortable with not knowing what the best, you know, table size. Get uncomfortable with not knowing what the best finishes are, and just start learning. Use tools like Grok AI and just talk to this thing all day long while you're working. You don't have to look at your phone. You don't have to type anything in. Just put in some earbuds that have microphones and just start asking Grok questions. Grok, what's the best tax advice you can give me in the state that I live in, right? Grok, here, I work 40 hours a week at this job. This is my skill set. I want to start a small business. How should I start a small business? And just start talking, right? What's the best rated table saw? What's the best rated paint system? What's the best rated spray booth? What's the best way to not pay taxes? What's the best way to pay myself the most? What's the fastest way to make money? Grok, what's the best, you know, selling piece of furniture in my industry this year? What are the trends in my industry this year? You can talk to this thing all day long, ask it tons of questions, and get lots of answers. Get your juices flowing as to where to go within your business, what the next move should be, what market should you enter. If you fuck something up, say, Grok, I fucked up, right? Grok will say, great, what did you fuck up on? You say, well, I was building benches, and I built them out of 2x4s, and I bought the lumber from Home Depot. It cost me $80, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, they'll say, great, here, you should have bought this material from this vendor, okay? Look, there's 84 sheets of this available over there, and Grok will tell you these things in real time. It's a lot of fun, and as a business owner, I use it all the time. All right, Mike makes, divorce is the only legal agreement that incentivizes one party to breach the agreement. I agree 100%, Mike. Mike, I have spent $1,300 a month for the last 12 years for one child. I don't even get to see my kid. And again, there's nothing I can do. The government will literally arrest me. They will send me to jail. They will take all my shit. They will coerce me to go work. Family court is one of the scourges on this country, right? I feel like I could literally run for office if I ran on trying to reform the family court system. But there are women that are wives that raise the children, that do the work of a housewife, and there absolutely needs to be a mechanism to help them in the event of a divorce. Now, one of the things that needs to be brought back into the family court system is fault. You know, and everyone says, oh, both parties are at fault. Yeah, no shit, both parties are at fault. But it always seems like one party ends up having to foot the bill for everyone. So this idea that if you fuck around on your marriage, guess what? You get nothing. That goes for women, that goes for men, right? If infidelity is a thing within a marriage, if you are the party that's fucking around, and again, I don't care if you're a housewife, I don't care if your husband wasn't nice to you, I don't care if your wife turned into a fat bitch. If you're doing those things, guess what? You're at fault. You know, there has to be consequences for being the cause or part of the cause of a marriage not working. Because guess what, guys? Marriage is the thing that makes this country work. And if we don't, again, I'm going to sound like a total old man, troglodyte, misogynist pig, but when you told all the women to go to college and we don't need no man and feminism and, family court's going to pay me to have kids, and guess what? I'm going to get the alimony from the man, and create a lot of problems in this country, guys. And it's just the truth. There's a lot of problems there. So, all right, Arc Raider PVE, you're so smart. Yeah, I don't know if I'm smart, dude. I just been through it all. Okay, just the owl. I didn't take loans. I have no debt. I'm paid as I go. Man, Jess, like, God bless you. Like, you sound like a very interesting person. This is the thing that I don't think we, again, without the student loan debt, guys, nobody would have went to college. Like, again, no 18-year-old was going to shell out 30 grand a year to go to some fucking school where they got wave pools and co-ed dorms and, classes about basket weaving and cultural appropriation. No one was going to pay for that shit. But the minute the government got involved, they could shovel all your guys' jobs to the third world and then bring the third world in here to do all the real work while bribing you guys to go to college. And then when you come out of college, no shocker, you can't fucking afford anything. And oh yeah, inflation's through the roof. You can't pay off your debt. You can't afford a home anymore. You can't afford a car anymore. You can't afford to have kids anymore. You know that everybody should have to pay for college. And guess what? Like, I'm of the belief that if you want to go to college, there needs to be some program in place that, hey, you come work for a small business like mine, and guess what? You can have government loans. You can learn some at my company and go to college and get a degree. But guess what? You need to work while you're in school. These people that fucking go to work that never have to, go to college that never have to work, again, a scourge on our country. We've devalued work and traded it for education, and it doesn't work anymore. It hasn't worked for at least 10 years at this point, and it needs to stop. The student loans, the guaranteed loans, need to stop. I mean, again, I don't have as a small business owner, like, where's my guaranteed loan if I want to go buy a truck? Where's my federally backed loan if I want to go buy a new CNC router? Where's my federally backed loan if I want to go buy a new factory? There's no federally backed loans. There's no guaranteed mortgages for business owners. Again, but you give a fucking kid, 18 years old, doesn't know anything about nothing. You give those guys $100,000 a year to go to school for 7, 8, 10 years. It makes no sense. But that's the economy we live in today, because again, they're sending all you guys to jobs. They're bringing the third world in here and bribing you guys to go to college. So that's how I see it. Okay, guys, we got about 9 more minutes, and then I got to get out of here. I got to drop some cabinets, and then I got to go to work and put the CNC router together. So yesterday I got to take half the day off, and again I'm going to go in late today. So first time I've got to have a day off in quite a while. So let's see, my eyes are open to college after 26 years. No joke. Yeah. Again, it's like college works for smart people. It doesn't work for dumb people. And again, there's nothing wrong with I'm a dumb guy. There's nothing wrong with not being super educated. You are not less of a person because you go collect a wage for 8 hours a day. I'm sorry. Okay, let's see. What's this? Norge? I don't know. What is it, like Norwegian or something? Okay, so you believe in objective truth, beauty, and nobleness. I don't know about that, man. Again, I do find it interesting, though, that the more educated we become as a society, the less beautiful everything's become. Like remember how cool McDonald's used to be? Well, you get a whole bunch of MBAs, and guess what happens? Suddenly, beauty costs money, right? Beauty does not make number go up. You guys looked at skyscrapers today? You guys looked at any of these strip malls that we have going on today? You guys look at all this stuff, and again, none of it's beautiful. It's all fucking gray, taupe, right-angled bullshit. And we got more people going to design school than ever. We got more managers than ever. We got more again, MBAs. Number go up. Nothing's beautiful anymore. Like, remember what Pizza Huts used to look like? You guys remember it actually looked like a fucking hut? Those days are over. I mean, hell, I would even say music today. Again, I don't think people want to pay musicians what they're worth or actors what they're worth. And now we're just start making everything in AI, Is that what we want as a society? I don't think so, but whatever. All right, our son has a scholarship and earned a degree in business. He had a hard time finding work and joined the Army. The Army sent him back to college to earn a degree in cybersecurity. He's doing great today. Okay, well, Titan Brew, you're making my case, but also destroying my case, right? So if you go to college and you learn something that's super in demand and you're one of the early degrees in that field, or if that field can stay on and support all the college degrees, makes perfect sense. But again, if you're going to go to college just because it feels good and, well, this is what I want to do, this is what's in my heart, and I'm 18 years old and I know exactly what I want to do, which no 18-year-old does, Might not be such a good idea, and then going into the Army, you probably learned a lot about how the world really works, so made some better choices after he was a little bit older. So maybe college, kids need to go into college after they've done a little bit of work, seeing how the world really works. Maybe that would be a better use of our tax dollars, I don't know, but Titan, you always got good comments, man. I appreciate all of them. All right, Femto999, factual. Okay, so Mike is making stuff. One man show out of my damn garage. One man show out of my damn garage. Again, a lot of us start out that way, man. A lot of your great businesses start out that way. We started our company in a 1.5 car garage in St. Louis, Missouri. So now we got, 15,000 square feet, maybe 12 to 50,000 square feet right now. So 8 employees. You can do it, man. Just keep at it. Okay, where'd your lamp stand? Is leg bowl. Okay, Croc's a major award. I know everyone loves the lamp. So, all right, you disgust me. Okay, well, Crocodile Farmer, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the comment. Hit the like button, add the discussion. Okay, do you have 3-phase power in your shop? I forget. Yeah, I do have 3-phase power, but the thing is I'm maxed out on power. My buildings, so it's an old building where they used to make bowling pins, and they used to repair bowling lanes. So it used to be when you had a bowling alley, you actually took the lane out of the alley, right, and you would repair it and then bring the entire lane back, which kind of doesn't make a lot of sense, but they basically take them out and they're kind of like an accordion, like big log pieces that are like accordions. Very different than how they do it now, but we have a lot of power, but again, the power isn't as useful as it was back in the 50s, and again, a lot of the 3-phase that we have, it's all used up, and we have a ton of 220. And so we've just maxed the building out, if I'm being completely honest. So at this point, I can no longer buy any more machines. I literally have to have the power company out, run a new line into the building, and then put new power in if I want to expand anymore. But again, I think I've got 8.5-foot ceilings, maybe 9-foot ceilings. So again, my building isn't really even set up for what it is that I do. But we make it work because rent's cheap, so you can do a lot when rent's $3,000 or $4,000 a month. So all right, Command Pinky 7617, the leg lamps from the famous Christmas Wars. Yep. Everyone loves a leg lamp. Okay, yeah, my mom goes effing nuts with remodeling, spending money, billions a year on pillows. Yeah, and that's how the economy works, guys. That's why cater to women, cater to rich people. It's what I tell anyone that wants to get into small business. That's what you need to do, and you'll have access to not only more customers at higher price points, but you'll be able to make more margin, right, on those particular products. And the more margin you can make, the more potential free cash you can have at the end of the month to then work on other things to grow your business. When you're trying to make 10%, 7%, if you're a restaurant, trying to make 5%, you gotta have lots of volume, man. You just gotta go, and then it's all about efficiency. So anyway, I'm gonna go that too much. No one wants to hear that shit. All right, just Al, TY for that woman like me didn't do anything wrong and still suffer financially. Again, it's just like I said, I think you're the exception, you're not the rule. And yeah, I think you're doing all the right things though. And man, the fact that you're not taking out student loans, like that's just incredible. It's a very rare thing today, unless you come from a rich family. So yeah, it sounds like you're in a bad spot, but you're working your way out of it. And it sounds to me like if you're where you're at today because of your work ethic and your drive, you're going to get there. You're going to make it, man, which is freaking awesome, So hopefully you'll come into the comments and keep updating us on how things are going. Let us know your story, what's working, what's not working. And again, I'm rooting for you. All right, let's see. I put on just as much work as he did. Okay, I believe it. I believe it, Justin. Again, it's too bad. Like I said, and again, there's no fault divorce is not a good thing. I'm sorry. I'm one of these guys. I think this is like a California, academic liberal woman belief. There are people absolutely at fault, and nothing is free in this country, and accountability is often. We don't get a lot of accountability in this country today, and whether we're talking about politics or we're talking about family court, and we need more of it, So, okay, last couple comments, guys. I'm getting out here. Son says music sucks so bad. RN. Okay, I'm not sure what you're saying there, son, but again, music today is not. I don't know what fucking music people are listening to today, but music of the yesteryear was amazing. Like I said, I grew up in literally the Pacific Northwest during grunge, So I was never into Nirvana and Soundgarden or Pearl Jam. Like I was always into Bush. Like Bush was my band. Like I loved that band. I just could never get enough of those guys. I also loved Creed when they were kind of a little bit later on in the grunge thing. I always liked Creed. They were fantastic bands like 12 Stones. If you guys remember them, they were fucking amazing. 12 Stones was so good. And then I found metal. And then I was like, oh my God, every other kind of music sucks. Metal's the only thing to listen to. Like bands like Shadows Fall and Devil Driver. Like, oh my God. put that stuff on repeat. That's the stuff I want to hear. The crazy double bass and the screaming guitars and the clouds over California. It's amazing, you know. So anyway, you guys don't know metal, get into metal. Metal's where it's at. So anyway, you guys, I got to get out of here, man. I got to go to work. I got some work to do on drawing models and stuff for customers, and we'll talk again tomorrow. I didn't get have a great day. Yeah, thanks for your time. Again, just come back. I didn't really get to talk about the tax policy as much as I wanted to, so maybe I can get back to more tax policy tomorrow. Again, we get into conversations, talk to people in the chat, and we are not able to stay on the topic because I want to make sure that I respect everyone's time by conversing with people about the things that are important to them, and that's just kind of how the stream goes, you know. So you guys have a great Thursday.